Hello.
Hello there.
Howdy.
We have a guest.
Look at that. We did it.
Listen to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to put...
It was like right on cue.
Yeah, I'm going to put a little like cutout that looks nothing like Mo in our thumbnail.
Just put potato.
Or that.
Put a fucking piece of shit.
Put a potato with the beard. Yeah, or just a piece of shit with the beard.
Slap a beard on it.
So welcome back to the Dark Souls of podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I mean, that's kind of
It's the Dark Souls of podcast because it's the hardest one to listen to.
That's exactly
pretty good. I'll take it.
Thank you.
It's gonna be even harder because I forgot my bathrobe. I don't know how I'm gonna make it through
Hopefully
this.
it's a little better with me here though,
It'll happen. We'll make it through. We've got 3 movies to talk about today.
Yeah, so we should probably get right on it instead of chit-chatting so it's not going to be 4 or 5 hours.
Right into it.
Make it 5 hours. Let's go for 18 hours.
Let's just sit here all night.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you, Skylar. Let's get right into it.
We probably
Let's just
could
jump
though
into it.
because there's a lot to talk about with these
Yeah,
these
there
3
is.
movies.
And they're all very different. We're gonna have a range of emotion going on tonight.
yeah, there's a lot to. I think there's something to unpack in each movie here, but we'll get into that. So we'll
And
start off.
this couch might get heated like one of those car seats that gets heated.
The self-heating one.
I thought you were gonna say something
The one-
stupid or like just get heated like those radiators.
There was one time my friend, his car had those self-heating seats, and I was like, why the fuck is my fucking ass so hot?
This is so
And
fucking
he's like,
hot.
oh shit, I gotta turn it off. It was like a fucking like summer day in Florida.
Ugh,
I was like, my ass was fucking swampy.
Jesus. Well,
so first up,
yeah, all that out of the way, we should start off with your movie.
my film that I recommended called Boondock Saints.
Wow, it's not a David Lynch thing.
It's not. It's
Shocked.
What a
it's directed by Troy Duffy and it stars
Willem
Norman
Dafoe
Reedus.
and Norman Reedus.
and Sean Patrick Flannery.
Yeah, sure, that other fella.
Yeah, the other fella. So I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I just want to ask what you guys
Y'all-
thought of it
do
first.
y'all usually go chronologically or
I tend to, and that's
Okay.
why it ends up being super long.
okay.
Well, I'll
kind of
try.
start off with the general like impressions, and then go semi chronological and any notes that you have written down.
Yeah, I wrote notes, so I'll try and drive because I didn't go as chronologically. I tried to keep it a little more focused with some of those little notes here and there.
Right.
But I want to know what you guys think about it. Basically, they're 2 brothers. And,
Very religious brothers.
yeah, it's
Praise Jesus.
it's kind of like
And the Irish too, yeah.
I wrote. It's kind of like if Quentin Tarantino made the Blues Brothers with no music, though.
And a lot more like serious and campy. I've seen. Okay, so for both your movies, I actually kind of did a little homework and looked at some of the just some reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, and everyone was talking about your movie as like a Quentin Tarantino ripoff.
Really?
Yeah,
So you looked up my movie, then you
I looked up both of your movies.
Okay, so you saw that on Rotten Tomatoes. This has a 25%.
Yeah, critics hate this.
Wait, they didn't like critics hate Boondock Saints?
Yeah, and I don't, and the fans seem to like it, but like I
Oh,
think,
Yeah. I
I
wanted
think
to say.
it's really quickly unjustified because I dug a little deeper with some of the critics. First of all, some of them weren't explaining shit of why they didn't like it.
Mhm.
There's one guy that was like, just said that this is just as filth and it like glorifies violence. And then I looked at what else he reviewed, and he gave Joker a 0 out of 5 and said cinema is dead and this is why. And I was like,
Okay.
excuse me, what? And then I looked
White.
and then I looked further, and he gave Bohemian Rhapsody an 81%.
Oh boy. Anyway,
Just like
yeah.
So-
So I wanted to mention that. I had that in my notes.
I don't know how warranted those are. I think
this had a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes, but mostly 4 stars on Letterboxd. And I said maybe that's because there's a case to be made about glorifying violence.
it's weirdly a cult movie.
It is, yeah.
I also watched Willem Dafoe talk about this, which he's got just his performance. Like fuck, I was looking forward to this because
Wait. What did you guys think? Let's let Mo talk too.
Yeah.
Talk.
Oh,
That's
no, I
right.
was listening.
I was just gonna say, like,
I
I
just want-
think
Keep going, keep
really quickly.
Okay.
I was looking forward because Norman Reedus is in this. I love him.
Okay.
He's one of my favorite actors, and he's just like taking a shadow to Willem Dafoe. I guess like every time Willem Dafoe is really in any movie, he just fucking blows everyone out of the water.
I love him
He
in
steals
this
the
too.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just was worried we'd get a little ahead of ourselves with bringing up his performance.
No, I'm just talking like generally.
Oh, yeah.
I think the performances are really well done, but Norman Reedus' roles kind of toned back, especially compared to Dafoe.
Mm-hmm. Mo, what did you think of the movie overall?
Generally,
Did you enjoy the movie?
yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good trip.
Okay. What about you,
Oh, it
Mo?
was fun.
Yeah,
I
it's fun.
liked it. And I think it's kind of dumb to be like, oh, it glorifies violence, so it's a bad movie.
I agree.
I agree.
I don't know. Violence is pretty human, I guess.
It depends on the context of what it's being used for.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
even still, like, if it's taking itself too... Like, imagine if the Saw movies or Final Destination took itself too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would be like,
Whoa,
okay.
Final Destination is a pretty serious movie. It's
It's a pretty fun movie. I was
Like, it obviously is like, there's some campiness and takes the piss out of it. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's what a lot of this movie is. Like, not
Yeah.
taking the piss, but it's super campy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot like RE4 in that way.
Yeah,
In terms
right.
of campiness.
I didn't find it campy, honestly.
I did, but like I find it fun. Like that's my
Yeah.
top.
Well,
that's,
it's a blend. It's not like overly so.
Yeah.
When I think of campy, I'm thinking like fucking. What's that one that British show that everybody loves?
Doctor Who?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
shit, that makes me want to go actually camp.
I call Doctor Who like kind of it's cheesy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cheese and it's got like that a real pungent flavor, kind of sharp cheddar. But
Mhm.
like this, there's a level of campiness where you kind of have to not really suspend your disbelief, but kind of let your guard down and be like, fuck it, just
yeah,
have
you
fun with
definitely,
it.
absolutely.
I really like. I mean, I saw it happening whenever they were like talking about like, oh, we're not gonna need rope. That's stupid. Fine, fucking get the rope.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like-
wrote that down too.
Like-
yeah,
I love how aware it is. It's like, where's my note on the rope?
yeah. Yeah.
Like it's Willem Dafoe. Of course, you kind of have to have that like kind of suspension of that, like especially in that scene where he's doing the fucking thing, like reenacting the scene with the
Yeah.
akimbo, like
Yeah.
shooting, just like get
Yeah.
that look on his face, especially when he's on his knees. Like that's hilarious.
That's why, yeah. What I wrote about the rope was, it's like the not so subtle rope foreshadowing. It feels intentional though, rather than badly done to me. Like,
Maybe I'm dumb, but I didn't pick that up as foreshadowing.
really?
Well,
Okay.
like I figured it. What like okay?
Yeah,
after
they-
the scene happens, it's just like they're setting it up. But like
yeah,
I just thought it was cool that they connected those two dots.
it felt very in your face that it was being set up, but not like, it felt intentional. It was like it was having fun. They even said during that part, like, this isn't a movie.
Oh yeah, no, I caught
Yeah.
that. I caught like, what do you mean? What do you mean this is they shit? Like this isn't a movie. Like if I wrote down a note, it'd be that.
Yeah, like what the hell would we need a
Well,
rope for?
I enjoyed that. Like it was like self-aware. So like
I definitely felt like it was. Yeah, actually, one of my top notes was just that this movie is a lot more fun than I ever thought it'd be, because I'd known about it for years and years, and I just watched it like 2 weeks ago, and I'm glad I did.
I had seen it a while back, probably like 2008,
Mm-hmm.
and I've basically forgotten it. But I think at the time I was probably also distracted. So this time I liked it a lot more than when I saw it then.
I've never seen this, and it was a treat to go in blind.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning, like the opening parts of the movie, are a little weird, I guess.
They're a
but-
little strange.
I mean,
It takes a bit to take off.
I feel like, yeah, it does. It's a little slow, but like, I didn't. Yeah, quick criticism. I guess I didn't like a lot of where they cut on the framing and like what scenes we're following.
Funny, that's one of my main criticisms as well. Like, just like, I didn't really care for. I felt like it faded to black way too much. Like
I
that,
didn't-
that was like the only transition.
There was one part where it was super like apparent.
Yeah,
Like it was like a millisecond after he finished a sentence, and it like immediately.
cuts to black.
And I was like, okay.
I
guess I'll
wasn't talking
fuck myself.
specifically about that, but I meant like example when they're in the scene with the bar, which is like things are escalating, it's getting interesting,
Mhm.
and right when you're about to hit that peak, it cuts. And
Oh,
and
right,
you get
yeah.
to the next day. and
Yeah,
I'm just like
so it
the
can,
fuck?
so it can like so it can go back and show the actual scene later. I actually do like that about this, but it's more about like 40 minutes into the film, right? It takes off because we get introduced to Willem Dafoe, and he's, showing up at all the crime scenes, and then it's kind of like he discovers them, and then the movie puts us back into them as they happened. And that kind of becomes the movie's formula.
Yeah, and early on, I was afraid that they were going to run out of stuff because I didn't know they were going to be going on this mini spree. So when they immediately you're getting to that piecing it together part, when Defoe first shows up, and he's following it kind of like a regular mystery, and then it just immediately cuts and then shows all of the events playing out. And I thought that was a little strange to kind of just give all that information so quickly.
Do you think the cutting is intentional or a product of like ineptitude?
You mean ineptitude as in like
them not knowing, or do you think they meant to do it for that effect? Because it seems very intentional because it happens so consistently.
I would say I feel
that's just kind of like how
me,
the timing was, I guess.
To me, it feels like very
editing.
much a choice, like a presentation thing, where we see Willem Dafoe finds the scene, and then it shows us the scene, and I guess I'm repeating myself now. That's like the formula, and that didn't work for you then.
I guess I thought it was moving a little too quickly for someone that likes a mystery, but then as the movie progressed, it was obviously
not a mystery.
It was more comedic and more.
It's an action comedy,
almost thriller. A thriller comedy with action.
One
and all
of the things I like violence in movies, so I'm like the opposite, I guess, of a lot of these critics. They're like, "Oh, there's too much violence," and I'm just like, "Fuck yes!" I liked I liked Dexter a lot, and then I liked the Punisher,
right?
Not the movie.
The characters or
the show.
Oh, the shows.
The TV show on Netflix, fucking awesome. But yeah, so it the violence obviously isn't as much as it is in the Punisher.
I think it's necessary to tell the story, because the brothers obviously become vigilantes seeking out the blackest souls. I almost said people.
Yeah, that's
not in that context. The people that did the most wrong, the kingpins, the drug lords, the murderers, the rapists, all that. So it's kind of it's a lot like Dexter in that it's karma based, eye for an eye,
right?
Anti-heroes.
And the movie kind of flirts with do you agree with these people? Because they're doing all these awful things, same things that the other people did, but it's for this cause.
Yeah.
And they showed that at the end.
I had this note, that this film poses the age-old question of whether or not it's okay to take justice into your own hands, like Dexter, for example, obviously. And then, the interviews at the end. They definitely say that the film wants you to think about this.
So because you thought that, what makes it different if two brothers do it? If two brothers do it versus a SWAT team, what the end result is the same, but do you think one's more justified because of the people who are behind it, because it has the authority of the government?
What do I think?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably
this is an entirely this could turn into a huge thing.
Yeah, I guess I'm. Just,
we don't really get too much into
morality versus do you believe the authority controls morality?
That's kind of the movie asked us that.
Well, I kind of wish that the movie kind of did more on what that point you just brought up.
I think they kind of did.
A little bit,
William
but
Dafoe actually turns. But originally he's like, "Fuck, I shouldn't want to root for these guys, but I am."
Well, that's the same point that I brought up earlier of the average person, the viewer, thinking about this. Willem Dafoe going through that. That's kind of the viewer thinking that.
That's a good point.
But what you brought up is how would this be different if two religious brothers did this versus the government?
I mean, if they were killing people based off religion, I would be like, no. But
no, I mean,
they were basing off of pretty objective morals, I think.
Yeah, no, they weren't doing it solely off religion. No,
I feel
which is probably not a thing, objective morals. But
I feel like this movie's presentation, it presents the whole thing to you. it doesn't really like hit you with that question until the end. Like, yes, we have the Willem Dafoe, the scene with the confessional, and there's that. But at the end, it kind of presents you with something, and then it passes the question off to you.
Okay, so since this is like kind of the biggest topic here, let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Talk a little more smaller details. I have a question.
Okay.
I was just gonna ask, what did you guys think of the Funny Man as a character? Because we haven't talked about him at all yet.
Well, yeah.
His performance?
He was consistent.
That's a a thing to say.
Yeah.
Hey, I got this new tattoo. Oh, that's permanent.
He reminded me of you.
That's funny.
With the
with the hair and the beard.
with the magic. No.
Magic.
Say something funny, man.
Do me a trick. Do me a trick. Oh, give me another one.
That scene
And
actually,
the hair and the beard and all that.
Mm-hmm. That scene actually could have aged a little better than it did.
Oh yeah, a lot of things could have, because there's a lot of derogatory terms being tossed out here.
When did this movie come out?
99.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I probably saw it in like 05, I think. So.
Yeah, even then it was still kind of
it
more
was not,
acceptable to say it, but still not.
Yeah, it was getting
well,
there.
obviously, them throwing out the N word and tossing that.
Yeah,
out.
and
I forgot about that.
And the punchline of his joke is just really racist. Like,
yeah, he tells a racist joke.
Yeah.
Growing up in Oklahoma, I'd heard that joke before.
I heard it too as a kid.
Yeah.
I have a similar joke that
I
keep deep away in a drawer. I don't bring it out anymore.
Oh,
but
I don't bring any of those jokes out. It's like it's a forbidden memory.
Yeah, exactly. But I think them using these terms kind of coincide with the use of violence here. That everyone's got a little bit of something.
Right.
That everyone has their ghosts. And not everyone in this movie is as pure and you can just write off as you would think, or with other main characters. All these characters have their flaws. Willem Dafoe's character is calm and collected, does all these, he tells himself that he does all these great things, yet he's super homophobic, but also
oh yeah,
I love how it kind of leans that way, but I guess people.
I mean, he does, without a doubt.
Well, yeah, people way back then.
He just did.
I guess back in 80s, 70s or whatever. If they had that thought, they would take out the anger on themselves too for having those.
Well, people, I still think that's a thing. That's What is it called? Projection,
Yeah.
And then you start to hate people who are like you in that way.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, that's pretty much
people do that.
Every anti-gay pastor.
Well, people do that people do that whether it's homophobic or racist or not. It could just be something.
But I do love that they just kind of made his character gay. It's just why not? And then
it's ironic because
yeah, and then
it gives it a little more depth, I guess.
And then when you find out he's gay, it's pretty hilarious with that the boy he's lying in bed with.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's just what are you doing?
Sure
I wanted to cuddle.
We heard that.
That
tagline at a comedy club from a guy who was gay, and it was just that's hilarious. It's dark humor-ish.
Didn't Bo Burnham make that joke?
Which one?
Or something that's just
maybe, but.
Oh, okay. The one that we shouldn't say.
Yeah, the one
Repeat,
we shouldn't say.
No, I just thought
I'm
it was
alluding to it, which is worse.
Yeah, the part that we were laughing at was when he is stop, and then the guy kisses him again and he smacks him. It's
kind of it's darker
you say the
humor.
Weirdest shit sometimes, Peanut.
Yeah. I just like that they added that detail. But yeah, it's kind of where does this movie stand on a lot of things? Except I feel like it's very clear where it stands on the question of the Dexter complex.
Right. I think we just circled back to the main topic.
Yeah, but that wasn't the main topic for me. I've actually got a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, let's get to your notes to kind of help string this along.
Cool. Well, all right.
I just wanted to say I think all the characters are done pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Note that I don't think is really that important, but Norman Reedus looks the exact same in The Walking Dead season 1.
He looks a little younger.
Normus
Normus Reedum.
Normus Reedum.
Normus Reedum doesn't age apparently.
This was 10 years from.
Yeah.
Yeah, in season 1 of The Walking Dead, he looks
that was
like this.
10 years.
Yeah.
Shit, never mind. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, as The Walking Dead went on, he looks a lot
he also
different.
has accents.
Uh,
He goes from fucking like goddamn Irishman to not goddamn Irishman, but from Irishman to like Southern.
yeah, I had
Well, they talk a bunch of different languages too. Speak a different.
I wrote
like Gaelic and
because here's the thing with that, I can't tell. Like, did he do a good accent?
yeah.
Because I didn't feel like he did,
Well,
but I was just
feel
like,
like he did, but maybe like a native speaker would notice.
right.
But I've been around Irish people, and they
I haven't.
seems pretty similar.
Okay,
I wasn't
maybe
paying too much attention to that.
maybe I didn't know the accent well enough because I was like, I can't tell if like he
Like
wasn't.
there's like the overdone like Leprechaun,
Yeah.
fucking, Lucky Charms one,
hmm
which is like
Darshi,
awful.
Darshi, Darshi, Darshi.
That one's like awful, but there's like it's more subtle than that. But yeah,
right.
it seems like they were closer to it.
I felt like Sean Patrick Flannery sounded really like natural with that accent.
Well, like take his whole ass name. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing more Irish than his whole
I
name.
don't.
His
Yeah, I didn't
the only
do-
thing would have been more
Sean
Irish.
Patrick
is Seamus
Flannery.
Patrick.
Yeah,
Something.
Seamus.
I didn't do any research. I don't know if like he actually has that accent or if he just used it because we know Norman Reedus doesn't have the accent.
Yeah,
I have a very Irish name myself.
He does have an Irish name.
Muhammad.
It's Irish, okay.
Here's a note: Bob Marley, lol.
Yeah, Bob Marley Lowell.
I was like, oh shit, and then it was just some white guy, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
no,
it's just some white dude
Yeah, I was just like, Bob Marley's in this. All right,
named Bob Marley.
I was hoping that it would like open with like fucking
Bob Marley.
some
Lowell.
Bob Marley, some Buffalo Soda,
Mm-hmm.
Dreadlock Rasta.
We've got the bar owner, and he has Tourette's, which is which is definitely used as a joke in this film, which definitely was for a long time actually. Like
I mean,
there was the Tourette's guy on YouTube.
but he actually had it,
Yeah.
and he was hilarious. Fucking Bob Saget.
Yeah, like the
Salt.
the peak of the bartender is that scene where after like they committed
The first crime?
the first crime, and there's all those nuns there, and he's just like fuck ass, and they're just like, oh dear, oh dearie
Did you call me
dearie.
a fuck ass?
Okay.
There's a lot of cool shots in this movie too. Like
There
I noticed
are.
that.
I agree.
Like it really appeals to my my 8th grader. Like, oh, they're cool, you know.
Mhm.
Because like some of, like the poster shot like Google uses is just them standing with the guy kneeling, pointing the guns down in the back of his head.
Right. Did you have anything to say about the shots, Mo?
I
He's taking them right now.
Before I move on.
I wasn't really. I was paying more attention to the story than the shots themselves. So
Fair enough.
I do like the one where they like dropped out of the ceiling and it was like the twirling camera.
Oh yeah, that was like
Yeah.
super like
Yeah.
cheesy actiony with the slow mo.
Yeah. It was like fun. It was seeing the guy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
I just like seeing people get shot.
Right.
Well, I think it works out so well because it was like obviously not planned as super dysfunctional, but they pull it off, and it's satisfying as a viewer to like see that, especially when because they're in a fight in the event before that, and they even like poke fun at it later that like that should not have worked, like, and Defoe is just like, TV is the reason for this.
Yeah, I love that.
No one pulls this shit.
No,
in
like
real
See,
life.
yeah.
it doesn't happen in real life.
It really is-
and it kind of just makes it self-aware.
Yeah, it speaks
Yeah.
to the self-aware aspect of the movie.
And I think if he had poorly delivered it,
Mhm.
it would be like, ugh. But,
Yeah.
You know, I think having a good actor that can deliver a line like that makes a huge
Yeah, it's like it's not a statement. It's just like, the fuck is this movie? Like,
Mhm.
Well, imagine if it was like Tommy Wiseau delivering that line. You know?
well, imagine Tommy
TV did
Wiseau,
this.
imagine Tommy Wiseau delivering any line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's the statement. Like, if you imagine Tommy Wiseau delivering the line, and I don't know, like I guess that makes any line bad.
Or you,
I could probably make any line
your
terrible.
point is, imagine anybody
guess.
that isn't as
Talented.
talented
Charismatic.
and apt as Willem Dafoe
Yeah.
delivering it.
That's true.
So like obviously there's some issues with the plot of this movie, but I want to say
Before we get into that, I have one last thing.
Okay.
The shot that I really liked
okay.
was when like Willem Dafoe's losing his shit and they're at the scene with and like in front of the house, and when he deconstructs it, like it plays the whole event, but he's there.
I wrote that down too. Yeah,
That actually, I was like, wait. What
I
the fuck
love
is this guy doing
that.
here? Yeah, yeah.
Love
But then
that.
you start to catch on. You're like,
See, I kind of wish it did it more, because then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it takes that criticism I had before of like it's giving you too much information. Here it feels like we're with him, like visualizing it, as opposed to like the movie being like, "Hey viewer, that's what happened. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
See ya."
I really liked it. That part specifically. Yeah, I wrote that down too. But I don't know. I don't know if there's any way to explain that. It was something I'm like actually still unclear about after 2 viewings. I probably just missed it because I'm dumb. Is like, when exactly did Willem Dafoe come in the know? Was it right?
When
It's right at the beginning.
It was shortly after his confession. They like called him on like his phone because I think they had his business card from when they first met him, and
Well,
well, regardless of how they got the number, they called him and told him like what was happening after he went to confession, because they were there, and they were like, oh, we could turn him with us.
I
and
think-
that's what
wait.
happened.
I think he had his suspicious, and like when he was at the confession, like
yeah, was it
he wasn't
after
know
the
where to stand.
confession?
It was
'Cause, yeah,
right after.
was,
It was
yeah.
right. Like
it was the next scene, yeah.
the immediate scene following.
Now I'm a little confused because in his confession he said, didn't he say, "I know who they are"? Like, I
Well,
know
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah.
They're good.
But they contacted him and was like, hey, like,
Yeah,
like, hey, what would you just like, team it up?
I like. Yeah, we really should not throw away or put the joint in the pocket for Rocco's character, which you
Yeah,
mentioned,
'cause
which
I-
you
I-
mentioned quickly.
Yeah,
Like the fucking insane dude.
I didn't mention it quickly. We talked a lot without him, and I think like he's one of the strongest characters in this movie.
Is that the Joker guy?
Yeah, the funny man,
Oh, the
the guy that has my hair and beard, but slightly more handsome face.
Yeah, what did you
Handsome.
what did you think about him,
You're
Mo?
handsome.
What did you think about him?
I liked him. I thought he was fun.
He
I
was
thought he was rash.
he was a loose cannon
Yeah,
character
yeah.
done well. Like
Yeah.
you didn't hate him.
He felt like Tuco to me. He felt like that actor must have felt the way that the guy who played Tuco
See,
felt.
I think what
Before Tuco.
what helped me
Yeah.
enjoy this movie that I guess characters didn't pick up on is it reminded me a lot of Payday,
Ha!
and he reminded me of one of the characters in it, Jimmy.
I've never
that
played
he's-
Paydays.
I haven't either.
He's a coke addict and he's English and he's fucking crazy. Like he's a loose cannon that will kind of just be like on a dime, just go ape shit.
He's impulsive.
Yeah, and I love how
Yeah, that's what it is.
I love how they put him in charge of like the moral authority. Of,
I was
like,
just
who they-
sharing like kind of
Yeah,
an attachment to it, so that's why I enjoyed him. I hated seeing the cat get shot.
I was just gonna say, what did you think of that?
I
thought it
hated
was,
that.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
I thought it was pretty funny too.
That broke my heart. I got real
I,
sad.
I don't like seeing
Yeah,
animals
obviously.
die, but
That's
I mean,
not the point, but it
it's
was
not
played
like
for
fucking
comedy.
Lassie, where you see him shoot the fucking dog.
Yeah, like
It was definitely played for comedy. You have fucking
Yeah.
Norman Reedus being like, "I can't believe this shit just fucking happened," like, and then it just cuts.
yeah. And then he was terrorizing the girls.
Yeah, that was a
in
bit
the
much, I
apartment.
think, but
Yeah, he
there's
was.
also
He could be.
99.
He's scary.
Yeah, but that's the point. He has to show like
Yeah.
how scary it is, and that he kind of like doesn't know entirely what he's talking about, because he was like,
Well, he
this,
was
this
also-
girl's on every drug on the planet. I'll shoot myself in the head if you can tell me what the cat's name is. Skippy.
Skippy.
Fuck. Okay, what color was it?
This movie's like got surprising range, kind of like that. Like I don't think it ever will make you like feel like sad or anything, unless you.
sad for the cat.
Yeah,
the
unless you're
cat.
sad about the cat. But like, it's got some impressive range with where it goes, because that guy's performance is strong. It's scary when
Yeah,
he's
no, absolutely.
screaming at those girls.
Just his, you can really feel the energy and like franticness in a lot
Yeah.
of his. I love how like his mask was like fucked up too.
Yeah,
And
He's like, "Fine, I'll just
yeah.
take it off."
Yeah,
And
that
they're
scene
like, "No,
was really
put it
funny.
back on."
Yeah, that scene was really funny, but like it just shows like that mask just shows his character, like in contrast to the brothers, where like they're clean.
yeah, it
professional.
represents his
And
individuality.
like yeah, And it was funny after the crime when he has the mask up, his hair was like poking like out of the holes.
Did you
That's a little detail I picked up on.
did you like when they pranked him?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
fucking loved that part.
I didn't love it.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
hate
yeah.
it. I was like,
I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, I thought they like made him shit his pants pretty much.
Yeah, and then
I was like, that's a bit mean.
I mean, I don't know. That's like a.
But I enjoyed it. Like, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, when you're in intense situations like that, jokes like that do happen. So
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know what you guys think about that dynamic because it's kind of interesting that they make him their moral authority. They're like, you're gonna choose who
Well,
we
they
kill,
obviously
and it's
have,
kind of like a joke. And they're like, I'm strangely okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of like plays off of like them how dysfunctional he is,
Mhm.
and like it's self-aware and that like, yeah, so these two like professional guys are gonna be guided by this fucking guy, this lunatic.
Mhm. I unless you had a thought on that, Mo.
it was a fucking ambush.
Okay, I want to get there, but just also quickly to jump back because I've had so many thoughts. Like fuck, I didn't think I got everything out I needed to when it was just me and you, Skylar. But I'm having trouble keeping up. But I can't remember now.
Cool. Yeah, we're kind of. Let's go back to the notes.
Yeah, what were you
your
gonna
heads.
say, Mo?
I just said it was.
You didn't have any thoughts about
It was an ambush.
Rocco being
Oh.
in charge of their murders?
Was he really in charge? He was kind of just a guide.
Yeah,
I don't think he was in charge.
He was the intel
just them
because
being like.
he picked up on the patterns and
Yeah, he knew who people were because he was
Yeah.
carrying. What was he like a messenger / delivery
errand boy. Yeah.
I'm not your delivery boy,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm not your messenger boy. I'm a delivery boy. But it was kind of like
Mm-hmm.
he was useful in that, but I don't think he was like running the show.
You said delivery. Now I want pizza.
Pizza. I want pizza.
Let's see. So
note.
yeah, I mentioned earlier the plot obviously has some problems, and I just don't care.
What's the problems with the plot?
So like, there's just like if you were gonna watch this, and with like the same way you would watch like Breaking Bad, you'd have a lot of problems with it. But it's the tone that makes
I think
this work
the
so
tone
well.
and lots of the writing are like prevent it so you don't watch it. Like Breaking
Right,
Bad.
yeah, because I wrote obviously the FBI agent wouldn't let them discuss in a foreign language before going forward.
Why wouldn't he?
For one thing,
He can't hold them accountable for speaking a different language.
I just feel like if you're being questioned, then
He might
He
be
would
like,
wanna
hey, what?
yeah,
You know,
he'd
but
want to translate
he might
it or
say
something.
more,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't stop them.
Mm-hmm.
If they're only being questioned, he
Yeah,
has no like authority in the situation.
I just
Because unless you actually have someone detained, you can't force them to stay there.
but like yeah, it wouldn't be that smooth. Obviously, he just sits
Yeah.
there and smiles and lets them have their little
Yeah,
talk. And then at the first scene, it was pretty like obvious they would have left like prints for sure because they touched those guys on the ground a lot. The guy who they killed with the toilet. I said they would have left prints and blood because they were also both bleeding and there was blood everywhere. But once again, I don't care because it's all about tone. And
Yeah,
this film,
I wouldn't even brought up like stuff like that because
I just wrote it down so I could make the point
the
that
whole nature of this movie, I wouldn't even like try to scrutinize it. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's still looking a little bit deeper into.
I brought it up to make the point about the tone that it doesn't take itself seriously and it's meant to be fun and outlandish. Because I imagine some people would be like, "This is stupid. It couldn't happen."
they were just those guys in the alley were killed by some giant dude. So, not two brothers.
Two brothers.
Two brothers.
I loved the jokes with Greenlee and Defoe.
With Greenlee and Defoe?
Yeah, the competent
Oh,
detective.
yeah.
When every time he got like something wrong, he's just like,
dude just like came in.
The coffee.
yeah, it's just like, well, so while Greenlee's out getting coffee, anybody else want anything? Or like he said something wrong, and he was just like, he just looked at him and said,
Here's
bagel with onion cream cheese.
Here's a quote.
Or-
Kind of makes me feel like river dances.
Oh yeah, I love that.
That was hilarious.
on like the back of a couch.
I actually laughed out loud when he just started doing that little dance.
I'm pretty sure I laughed out loud too. It was like,
What about? Did you like him?
Only Defoe could do that and like just be so comedic.
Did you like him dressing up later as a woman?
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
God, that fucking made me fucking hot.
I thought it was. Well, it was. It wasn't
as
unlike.
soon as you left the room, I was like fucking rubbing one out.
Gotta go beat it to Willem Dafoe.
He's William Dafoe now.
Yeah, I thought he. I thought it wasn't unlike the movie would pull that at all, especially given like the under stuff under the hood of what Willem Dafoe's character is. So I saw it. I was just like, of course, of course.
Another thing I like.
The part with the when he went too far.
Did he go too far?
Yeah, because he was on his back and I was just like, he was just talking dirty to him.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant like
and then
when he was kissing the dude.
Yeah, and then he.
I was like, whatever. That's like the Navy.
Yeah, no, that's the Navy. But when he got up after he killed the guy, I was just like, too far. I love that. Too far.
So I felt like it did a really good job of progressing. Quick. I remember what I was going to say earlier, because we brought up Tarantino like way earlier, and I did want to mention I've only seen one of his movies. So if this is a ripoff, I don't see it, but I see the influence for sure. Like, I'd have to be more familiar to be like, oh, this movie just took all the tropes, because I don't know. And I don't think any of us on the couch know.
I hear the term tossed around a lot.
I don't think Tarantino like has a fucking monopoly on those types of characters. So
right.
Fuck that shit.
And what I wanted to, I just wanted to get that out there. I really liked, or I was saying I liked the plot in this. Really, as it goes, it manages to steadily ramp up. I wasn't sure how I felt about the introduction of the Duke and the reveal about the Duke. Well, it was like, all right.
It was convenient, but it was also like a fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so at that point you already like
right.
I'm not really expecting them to be like, it happens to. Wait, are we doing? I guess we're doing spoilers. Fuck it.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. I guess I was like, wait, we've gone through everything. Yeah, like it's unlikely, but you know, it's fun. So
Yeah.
it was convenient for a plot. You know, it's like plot armor.
Yeah.
But you know, like who gives a shit? It's a fucking movie.
It just
Because
didn't.
if it wasn't if there wasn't their father or related or whatever, then the brothers would have been dead. That would have been the end of the movie.
The end of the movie, they just get gunned down.
So she's like, of course, you know.
Right. It just. I guess like that whole thing didn't do much for me, but it doesn't really detract. I just don't really think about it.
The Duke I thought was really cool. Okay. It was like the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual boss.
Yeah, that's where I was getting at. And then I remembered his introduction, because I think the movie ramps up consistently throughout, and the last murder that takes place is the coolest one.
Because it's in public.
Oh,
yeah. It's at the courthouse.
In the fucking courthouse? Yeah.
No.
And then they're actually like heisters and all that.
I actually meant like the house before that one.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's not the last one.
With the
that makes it before the last one.
With, I guess, with the when the Duke shows up with the 6 guns, and we get Willem Dafoe's amazing speech.
And he's like, there were 6 guys. It was a fucking ambush.
What if it was just one guy with 6
line.
guns? Shut up. Let me do the thinking.
I like the it was a fucking ambush line. It was so.
I love
a fucking
I just
ambush.
love the range that Dafoe had in this, where like he would get defeated and then
his range in general is
super
so
like
fucking
upset
good.
and like when he found out he was being withheld a crime scene and he was like, yeah, next time I let the fucking police force do the thinking for me, I'll have a fucking toe on my tag on my toe.
I love him so much.
A toe on my tag.
I want to say during that, I love the hand covered kiss that that Flannery's character gave to Rocco.
Wait, you guys never did that?
Actually, I didn't, but
I think
a couple of my friends
in like middle school, but
a couple of my friends did that.
What?
just like that hand covered kiss thing
Oh.
where you put
you
just put your hand
over
up.
the
You're
mouth
like
and you
shh.
kiss your hand.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just say like shh, and then you kiss your hand. Like
No, I've never done that.
I think it's such a great like comedic moment in the
I'm
movie.
sure like they got it from that. Like
yeah, I'm
the
sure.
friends that I had that did it, and then I followed suit type thing.
Absolutely, my friend, I know he did, but yeah, that Defoe monologue right there.
It's kind of like the old trick where you like pick your nose with one hand and then put your other finger in your mouth.
I don't know that one.
Where you're like, this is me picking my nose, and you switch to your left hand, and you're like, and people are like, wait, what the fuck did you just do?
A lot of magic is kind of based around that, where it's like,
Ah.
do you notice that continuity?
Yeah.
Or, that was a bit more obvious, but
No,
like,
but I mean that was like a fucking like elementary school trick that I remember.
yeah, like so a lot of other ones are like a lot more subtle, you know. But
Yeah.
like if you
I'm not a
It-
magic man, so I don't know.
too quick, I guess tangent. If you did it like with your middle finger or something, just
Oh,
like
and you
off the
switch.
side, and you just do it with your index.
Okay. I saw that magic that you did there right there. He actually picked his nose and ate it.
Yeah, I actually did it.
So yeah, I almost spoiled that one part for you. Not really, but it's like my favorite line.
Oh
in the-
yeah, I didn't remember. I didn't catch on that.
yeah, it's my favorite line in the movie when he's like, for a few minutes or seconds, yeah, this place was Armageddon. There was a firefight, and then
Oh.
he just like he starts like dancing. It's so great. I love it so
Oh
much.
yeah, but also like it felt intense. Like I felt the intensity of that. I was just like, damn. Like if he really got that hyped up on it, it must have been such a fucking cool like you
Mhm.
know shootout. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of out of stuff to say.
And
if
then
you
right,
wanna finish
yeah,
up your notes.
I'm like at the end, and then he was like, I liked how he was freaking out. That whole part was my favorite Defoe performance, like one of them anyway, like ever. And then when right before he finds the finger and he's like, fuck, who the fuck are they? It's so
They sprayed fucking ammonia.
Oh yeah, and he's
Yeah, they
like,
sprayed
he's
fuck-
slapping the shit out of the bushes.
yeah, it's so good. Yeah, that's pretty much all my notes. Except that apparently there's a sequel that came out like 10 years
Yeah.
later.
Oh, I remember
without
what I was
Willem
gonna say.
Dafoe, and
Oh.
it's not as
Yeah,
good.
can
And I'm
you-
not surprised.
Have you seen
Really quick, guys, could you imagine this movie without Defoe? And what
No.
would that be like?
I mean,
Maybe like
he's so
I could-
important to
well,
it.
I think the main characters do drive it still.
They're
Um,
great.
But, you know, without fucking Norman Osborn, I don't know.
Without, for me, Willem Dafoe drives this like as much as the two main characters.
Yeah, I think so. Like it has to be an equally strong opposing sides. I was gonna say like about halfway through this movie, I thought, damn, I really wish this were a show.
really.
Yeah, could you imagine? Like if this was a show, like,
Dexter.
Well, it'd be like Dexter, but like with more.
but with all
comedic-
that comedy and like
Yeah.
more
probably some
campiness.
more religious, like
Because Dexter,
undertones.
Dexter more or less was serious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It-
definitely.
Like
There were like funny moments. But,
If like these
yeah.
errors I was mentioning a little bit earlier were in Dexter, people would hate that. But in this movie,
there
it's fun.
were though, probably.
Probably,
Like,
yeah, but they're
if-
really obvious here.
Like if you really want, if people really took Dexter like and looked at it like really scrutinizing it,
oh, right.
they would, you know, he would have been caught by the end of season 1. You know,
But Dexter was a lot more like the show. It cared a lot more about those details than this did.
well,
And
yeah,
I think it's all in.
frames it that way that like, oh,
Yeah.
he cares about the details and he's just really good. Could you? But like this movie doesn't really do that. It's just like this ain't a fucking movie, but it is. you
Yeah,
know?
it's really fun.
It's self-aware in that way. But like if there was a show that carried that out, I think it would be really good.
Right.
And I think it would be better if it like kind of played more with the idea of like what Mo said earlier with like the SWAT team or like cops or government doing the same thing, if that was the whole pretense for it.
Right. And yeah, I don't want us to.
I wish that was a little bit more developed.
Mhm.
well, yeah, like I don't know. I like the idea of like questioning that sort of morality. Where
Like-
is it okay if the government takes a life versus two like brothers?
Yeah, like
as long
what?
as you can confirm that these people are pieces of shit, you know?
Yeah, like what?
at the end of the day, does it make a difference?
Like what if, like, say this were a show or something, or maybe if it were longer or had, you know, other stuff like if this had this whole underlying message or like question, and like each season or each like crime scene and murder happened, it kind of like questioned it further. Like it kind of like got closer and closer to the line of, or whatever that line for you is, of like what if it's this, you know?
But
Like what if one of these criminals has like a family, a wife and kids?
But while maintaining its fun
Do you think if it
aspects.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think
know,
if
to,
it was
like,
if it was a show, it could develop on that much more?
yeah.
But I think with like, how long did the movie last? Like an hour and 40 minutes, probably.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it
hour
wasn't
45.
too long actually.
So like, I think it's hard to make those developments with all the other stuff they had in that amount of time. But I think if it was a show,
Yeah, I guess that's
it would
just-
probably hit on that because
That's just what I wanted, I
Yeah.
guess. That's like that would be so cool to see. And obviously, yeah, use the campiness, the comedy to diffuse that like really
yeah.
kind of tough philosophical question for what people believe are morally right based on justice.
Right. Well,
And I think it plays a lot on kind of a lot of people's view on justice, and that they want it immediate,
Okay.
you know?
Like fuck the trial.
Like that's pretty much
Like-
that's what the whole vigilante thing is, and it's kind of just shown right there in the trial, the courthouse. It's just like, no, justice is happening now, taking their own hands.
yeah, like
A lot of people in the interviews on the streets were kind of just like, no comment.
it's
Like,
so hard to be like to support like vigilantism. Like I mean, for me, I kind of like embrace the idea, but I don't know. It's like also I want people to have like a due trial.
yeah, like I think a lot
know,
of people embrace
want it
and
to be
like
like-
that, but it's kind of like they're kind of giving into like
Yeah.
that, like, ooh, this isn't like right, but man, does it feel good, you
But
know?
also like when someone gets away with it, fucking like O.J. Simpson or some shit, it like drives me. Or like, I mean, right now what we're seeing in the media. Am I allowed to go that far?
I don't.
You ought to go as
I
far
don't
as
care.
you
I
want.
just,
Okay.
like,
Yeah,
I just don't want to
say
shift
anything you
the
regret.
tone.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm saying like when you have like police murdering like unarmed people, it's like,
Yeah.
and how far do you let like vigilantism go? Because I think it should go as far as it needs to get the fucking message across. But that's kind of my extremist personality.
And I think it's really cool that the movie does flirt with that. I guess I wish for a bit more.
That's what the question the movie poses, I think. And I kind of like that it didn't actually. Personally, I think that's just as valid, but I kind of like that it didn't feel that preachy until the end. It was like, oh, we want you to think about this too.
Well, like that's what I got. I didn't think it would be preachy because like it does use that comedy to diffuse all
You said it
that.
has like an average of like 2.5 stars out of like what? Out of 10 or 5?
Oh no! It's just on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's got 25%. That's out of 100.
25%.
That's from critics.
25% of critics gave it favorable
Yeah.
reviews.
And it's like 60, 80%.
That's insane.
Maybe
Like,
70% of viewers.
Because
Um,
I can't imagine it's like, okay, so let's say you find a disconnect in it. I don't find it to have that much of a disconnect where I can imagine 25% of people being like, oh, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's just how critics think.
I guess critics aren't people. We should kill them. Like,
You're right, man.
I mean, technically, aren't we critics at the moment? In
Yeah,
this
that's
very
what we're
moment,
doing.
I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think
well,
part
that's
of,
why Letterboxd.
part of
you
this-
see, like most people gave this 4 stars, and
Yeah.
that
part
makes
of this
sense to me.
podcast to me is like Letterboxd, where it's like we're just kind of average people that just
Yeah,
kind of like to look at things just a little more closely. talk
Letterboxd is
about it.
Letterboxd is just like the average film, like moviegoer giving their thought, which is like going to be probably more in line with most people's
I feel
views
like,
than
yeah,
a critic.
Letterboxd is probably a better metric than fucking
Oh, yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Because there are people who care enough to have the app, and
there's
they're just
people that
watching
want
the
to
movies.
shut down Rotten Tomatoes because there's too many people that disagree with them on there. Somebody has a different
Yeah.
opinion.
It doesn't matter.
I like when people fucking like put like 5 stars on a movie that hasn't come out yet, and I'm like, oh my god,
Mhm.
stop. Like,
Oh yeah, just follow
Or-
the hype.
or
yeah,
I-
just,
I-
hey, 5 stars on a movie that hasn't come out yet,
or 1-star like games that haven't come out.
yeah.
like, it's what's the one that like
Oh no, what I
every
really
game that comes out, feminist propaganda because it has a female lead.
what I
or some
really
shit.
hate, I guess, in this tangent, is the people that publish a negative review on Steam, but the review is, "What are you doing looking at the negative reviews? Just play the game already." I hate that.
I didn't know that happens.
That needs to
Is
stop.
that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Why are you looking at the negative reviews? Just play the game already.
Yeah, people do that.
I'd feel like the point of reviewing the negative review is like whether or not I want to purchase the game. Like if
They're
I
supposed
see,
to be helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah,
yeah, fuck those guys.
it's just not
Totally,
helpful. But anyway,
yeah.
I pretty much got my closing thoughts out of the way.
How about you?
I guess I did want to get one criticism across that
Go for it.
I think I'm going to be disagreed with. I didn't like how quickly Willem Dafoe's character was just like, yeah, fuck it, I'll help these guys.
I mean,
I don't care.
I think it kind
didn't
of-
mind it.
I think
thought
it-
it was fun.
I think it kind of just gets rid of the whole point that he was trying to do in this movie, because like he was so determined to like catch them, and he just at the end.
well,
just
he
like,
let them go in the
fuck it."
beginning. Like he was like,
Well, because that was clearly self-defense.
but sort of. It was only sort of like they also. Okay, so self-defense. If you can't run away, is the only time you can do self-defense, like legally.
I think
So legally, it wasn't self-defense after they dropped the toilet and shot the guy in the fucking back while he was on the ground. So they could be like, well, this guy was shot while he was on the ground. But I think William Dafoe gave him some leeway because he's like, oh, these
William.
guys, William DeFriend gave them some fucking leeway. And that was because
But I
he was
think-
like, he understood the situation better than like the fucking red tape of the law, I guess.
I think that goes with what James was saying about some plot holes and
well,
inconsistencies.
I'm
like-
just not really gonna speak to your criticism because like that's valid. I think I just don't care. Like it doesn't break the
I
movie in
feel
any
like
way for me.
If the very first time he met them and they did something maybe a bit more dodgy, and then he kind of like, you kind of get like a glimpse or foreshadowing of like kind of that nature that's in him
Yeah.
to let them go, then I would be more willing to accept like a near 180 in character motivation.
Mhm.
Like that was, I guess, jarring. Like I'm not opposed to him helping them. I was opposed to how quick and sudden and how much of a change in character that was for me.
I liked that little line they threw in there. That I guess it's like pretty cliche, but it worked for me a lot. When fucking Rocco wants to kill Defoe, and then the brothers are just like, "Nah, he's a good man."
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, we're not doing it.
I like that because they were staying morally consistent.
Consistent.
Consistent?
Yeah.
They were staying morally consistent, even though he was technically trying to find them, and they knew that he would because they're like, well, he's fucking smart as shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that because
I like that. Yeah.
I like that they didn't change their morals based on like whether or not this person could find out who they were.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like they were going for self-preservation at that point. They were like, no, we can't fucking kill him because he's a good guy.
Right.
Yeah, I like that.
And yeah, I guess
like
my
that.
final thought, the ending prayer and final kill, pretty dank. I like that.
Yeah.
Get a fucking like a sawn-off barrel to the fucking head. Fuck that. It'd be over so quick.
I don't think that might have been a modified sawed off
Well, yeah.
because it was a lot smaller. And
Well, yeah.
had
It also had
extra-
like a fucking pistol grip on the pump.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very modified.
That's it for me.
Cool. I got everything I need to say about it.
We'll do ratings. Mo, you have any final thoughts?
I think I expressed myself pretty well.
All right.
Cool.
So I guess one of you can start.
I guess
'cause-
we'll go in line because
Okay, yeah, you
since
can-
you recommended it, you go last.
Mo, you don't need to give a number to
I'm no love
anything
sandwich. Oh, I guess I
if you don't want
guess
to.
I'll just go fuck myself.
I was just trying to give you the option. If you're not the
He's,
kind of
he's
person
gonna do
who
it out
wants-
of 5, like one of those
Yeah.
guys. I really enjoyed this movie. It's a good trip, but I'm probably not. It's probably not going to be at the forefront of my mind. It's going to be like kind of bottom of drawer, like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like I'll remember it and show it to my friends, and then
The what?
like kind of like a bottom drawer type of thing. Like I'll just have
bottom
it
drawer.
there.
Okay.
You
I
know.
thought you said Bomb Majora. I was like, is this related
What?
to Majora's Mask? I mean, I love that game.
And yeah, I got what I had to say about with the criticism. So to me, this movie is getting a strong 7 out of 10.
Nice.
I'm actually in line with that. A strong 7.
Strong 7.
Strong 3.5 out of 5.
So that's funny because I
I
wrote.
want to give it a 4, but it's like, I think it's close.
Yeah,
but
it's-
not quite.
Yeah.
This is fun enough for me to be an 8, but I did write closer to a 7 than a 9.
There you go.
So there we go.
We're pretty much in alignment. It's fine.
It's fun,
The
but
stars
it's
have
not like
aligned.
it's fun, but
Let's wait till the next.
it's not
review
like
where they
it's
haven't.
a lot-
masterpiece enough, I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm not gonna pretend like it's a masterpiece. It's just a lot of fun. It's a great movie. I liked it a lot. So
With some great messages kind of in there to look forward.
yeah, and I do feel like the interviews at the end kind of are accurate to how people are. So I liked that little cherry on top.
Yeah.
How everyone was gray on the issue. But
like even the police were helping them.
mhm.
Like it was amazing.
we've got 2 more movies to get through.
How long has it been?
55 minutes.
Oh, that's
Not that bad.
No, this could line up being 3 hours. I'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy too.
Fuck. But yeah, the next film is gonna be yours, Scott.
Yeah, my recommendation: Pink
Mhm.
Floyd, The Wall. That's immediate problem with the title because it's supposed to be Pink Floyd's The Wall, but
I just wrote The Wall.
yeah, it's The Wall. Yeah, another music movie out of me. Probably my last one.
Oh.
I think I'm
Alright.
out of music movies because you already said you've seen Spinal Tap,
Oh damn.
and I don't think I'd
yeah.
recommend it anyway.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's a fun watch, but anywho. So yeah, this is just the movie version of what is the album, which we've
Mhm.
already talked about before here. This time we got Mo here to have a
Yeah.
fresh set of eyes and ears. Yeah, the Wall's like the one of Pink Floyd's one of their biggest albums and projects. And I think I told you when they wrote the album, they were also planning the movie and the tour.
the tour.
Oh yeah, they toured it and
Right.
it was huge.
Oh, I was thinking like
Like-
a fucking amusement park.
Oh no,
I was like, wait, did they like rent like
no.
fucking Universal? And they're like, welcome to the wall, and it was like a fucking thing you walk through. or
I mean,
some shit.
honestly, like the show was like super theatrical in these parts of the movie too, like the animation.
Were they
but-
playing at the same time during the show, during the movie? Like, was it playing in the background? And they played
No,
the music for it.
no, they did.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
pretty sure the album version of stuff and maybe with a couple extra
Maybe a
songs.
long ass show too.
Yeah, I mean the album's like an hour and a half, but
Yeah, and the movie's
I don't
like 2:20
think
probably.
I don't think there's a whole lot to mention other than that. I mean, it's just with the story and everything.
Wait. Did you say the movie's
To summarize,
over 2 hours?
I think so.
It was
think
an
so.
hour and a half, or an
Oh.
hour and 35 minutes.
Hey.
Oh yeah,
timing
that's
sense.
right. I don't know why I just agreed so blindly with Mo right there.
No.
But I
It
did.
felt like it to both of us. Don't worry.
Nice. Nice.
We gonna jump into this?
Yeah, I
one?
guess jump into it. It came out like a year or two after the album. I think it's 82 and the album is 80 or 79.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, it was 140. Holy shit.
yeah, I think before the Roger Waters even like did the album, he wrote out the script and rough story of what the Wall's events are going to be, but there's no real summarize for me, so I just want to hear what your guys' first impressions were and thoughts and what you thought of it.
I thought the animation is like very cool.
Yeah, the animation is one of the
Yeah.
best things and most notable things that people talk
Can I
about.
talk about my favorite part, even though it's close to the end?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so the part where like the headmaster is
Oh, the judge?
literally an asshole.
Yep.
He's literally he's
I'm
like
glad you
literally
picked up on
backwards
that.
legs. There's balls hanging under him, and he's like literally just an asshole.
Oh,
And I was just like, that's funny. as
Yeah,
fuck.
I know when you laughed at that, you picked it up, and I was hoping James would too.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. And you've told me about that before.
Oh, I guess
Yeah,
so.
he was just like a literal asshole, and I'm like, I think it also says more about like British schooling versus like U.S. schooling, because
Even in the U.S., like the schooling back then, like when Roger Waters was
the Cold
growing
War.
up, during the Cold
Yeah.
War, it was awful. But like British schooling was even worse with the boarding schools.
well, yeah, because they there's more of a class system that's like recognized in like the UK versus here, because people will literally assign. I heard this from like an anthropology teacher, but people will assign like value to like who you are based on like the accent that you're using.
right.
Because they know, Oh, that's like a fucking poor accent versus a rich accent
Um,
versus a posh accent.
I want to get out of the way since you talked about the judge. One of my favorite lines is something fills me with the urge to defecate.
Yeah.
I like, one of my favorite things is like dropping spoilers before people know they're spoilers. Like,
Yeah.
like what I do with James. I was like, how can you have your pudding without having your meat?
Yeah, that's another one of the best lines in the movie.
Yeah, but like,
How
I
can you have any pudding if you haven't
said it
eaten
to
your meat?
Skylar, knowing that James wouldn't know what the fuck I was talking
Yeah.
about.
I think I knew that from you also, though.
How could you have your pudding if you didn't
Well,
eat
it's also
your
in
meat?
the album. It's also in the album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I had listened to the album for this podcast before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we talked about it before. That's why.
Okay. So like, yeah.
So
Okay.
he's well versed with like kind of the themes of what this talks about, but you get it more visually and some other themes too that weren't in the album. Revisiting it. So what did you think, James? Like, first impressions. What's that smirky doing there? She's smirking at me.
I loved this movie a lot.
Oh, great. That's excellent.
I loved it a lot.
a lot. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What? I want to know what you guys think, though. Like,
I recommended
I
it. You guys do the
yeah.
talking.
Overall thoughts.
Overall, so for the one thing for me is it's very hard for me to get into a movie that's like entirely music with no dialogue.
There's dialogue in this, but
It's
yeah.
very little.
That's the thing with...
It's so sparing.
Yeah.
There's like the Beatles one. Like I don't know.
There's
It's
a lot more dialogue and plot going on in the Beatles. Not plot,
It
but...
seems like friends conversing, which is natural, which I like. But at the same time, it's like I can't. I'd like the art style of this movie a lot versus compared to like Yellow Submarine, because Yellow Submarine art style makes me like actually want to vomit.
Really?
Yeah.
I enjoyed both of the
It
art
seems
styles.
so like it's like the
I think they're
whitewashed
interchangeable.
one.
Yeah, I enjoy both just fine.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it.
They even were wanted to use the like the art style animations and like the art for like the CD. They wanted. I think they even like thought about putting it on the front cover, but they decided that just a blank wall with the logo would be.
I mean, I'd
better.
seen it before actually, like a year ago. I did a report
Yeah.
on this movie.
I
So
think James knows where I stand with this album. I think it's the best album anybody could have ever written.
Mm-hmm.
And it speaks a lot to me spiritually and emotionally.
ooh.
Right.
There are even parts of the movie where I was like pretty close to crying,
Mm-hmm.
even with two big burly men here.
Me too, actually. And
Am I big and burly?
Yeah.
And I
Ooh.
guess I'm gonna try not to be so linear with my notes because like it's a very abstract movie.
Yeah.
For one thing.
And that's the thing with music movies is like there's not a whole lot of dialogue, but with this I think there's still plenty of material, themes, and plot
yeah,
to
yeah,
follow
yes.
and work with.
Yes. I wanted to say that it's I'm probably backwards for most people for this.
I'm glad you liked it so much because I'm looking forward to talking about like that website I told you about that goes into detail about every scene and song.
Because this movie, this is where I imagine I'm backwards for most people. The movie kind of recontextualized the album for me,
Yeah.
rather than what I imagine is most people are really into Pink Floyd, so they watch this movie.
Well, I think you're right on the money. Is that the movie, because since it introduces new things that the album couldn't, it could really let you pick up on a lot of things listening back to the music and thinking about it.
Right. And it just I connected with the movie like a lot more than I did on any of just my listens to the album.
Yeah, but now you can listen back to the album and then connect with it the same.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm interested to do that. I don't know if it'll be the same for me or not. Cuz the visual aspect really did something for me. Which maybe if I listen to the album, it'll be totally different for me now, but I can't say I have since we watched it the other night.
I mean, since for me this is kind of like they're both the same. You know, they're like interchangeable for me.
I got you.
So I don't have like, well, the album means this to me and the movie means this. They're both like the same. You know, they're both the same project and same concept. I mean, that's exactly how Waters intended it.
Right.
Fun fact: Waters actually wanted to be the lead in this, be like the actor, but he couldn't really act very well.
Classic.
And I think it will look a lot weirder than having the main character as is.
So I was gonna say, like, I wrote like a full report on this like a year and 4 months ago.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, like because for music class they were like it was a history of rock and roll class.
Yeah, I chose Spinal Tap.
Yeah. Well, we did this. I chose this one, and
I chose The Wall too.
There's like specifically the song "The Wall," is talking about like how children are sent through education.
You mean Another Brick in the Wall?
Another brick.
Part
Another
2.
brick in the wall. Yes. Is it part 2?
Part 2, yeah.
PT2.
It's the one that's played everywhere.
Children are basically marching in an obedient fashion, either to become factory workers or soldiers, or it showcases how schools are made to like make obedient people versus free thinking people, which is like I think a
and you
thing
get some
that's more embraced here in the U.S. versus the UK,
and how it was during the Cold War.
Yeah,
and,
especially like fucking 40 years ago.
Yeah, and
50
then
years ago, Jesus.
50 years ago. Well, even longer. I think this was like back in like the 50s, 60s. No, this wasn't Cold War. This was earlier than that. This was in the 50s and 60s.
That was the Cold War. Cold War
I thought
is
it was
everything post World War II to like pretty much the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I didn't know. Yeah, you get some really powerful imagery with that too, with the kids on a conveyor belt getting tossed into a meat grinder.
Yep.
I think everyone knows the interpretation is that like the system will grind you into an unrecognizable paste and pulp and doesn't care about creativity at all and or individuality. And I love that the kids like start rioting and like just fuck everything up and have that bonfire.
Right.
It's really rock and roll.
It's really rock and roll, man.
There was definitely that thematic connection with the soldiers on the battlefield being spliced together with the kids at school and with the police encounter. Just all of that. That's right towards the beginning, I guess.
It's all about the system and like, the system, man. But like, yeah, and that's why, I guess jumping forward, that's why there's so much imagery with the hammers. Like it's kind of on the nose with like, the hammers are there to hammer down any nails sticking out. No one's meant to stick out. You're all supposed to be the same.
And that's, we see that with the sections where they're all wearing the same mask. Everyone looks the same.
Right.
Oh, that.
Well,
those
were like yeah, those were like more like horrifying and like gross to look at.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks that like it's that song, like the least Pink Floyd song that like gets all that traction. Just because I think for me and the rest of the fan base, whenever we hear it in public, we roll our eyes, but in the album, it's like, yeah. In the context of the album, I mean.
I would agree, actually, because I don't remember. I know I wasn't too big on that song.
Because I don't think I've ever jammed out to it when like it just comes on randomly, but during the album, I'm like, yeah.
During this movie, I loved it. Like it just
there's a build up. There's a build up to it that makes it so fucking great.
It really contextualized everything on the album. Like it, and it's not in the same order as the album, right?
No, they're like not necessarily. The first half is pretty much there.
Yeah.
On the second half, I mean, it's still like you get like the strong hits that are in the same spot, like that line up. There's some other stuff that thematically kind of like rearranges them. Like it flashes back to the kid, and then you get even further back with the father. I think I told you when we talked about the album that this is pretty much autobiographical from Roger Waters.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, did Roger Waters' like dad actually die like during World War II?
Yeah, and he died in the Battle of Anzio, which is directly mentioned in the movie.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, I literally have like a whole fucking paragraph or two on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it mentions that he had a terrible time in boarding school and he hated school. And he met his band members like kind of right after that early college area. He had an overprotective mother, trouble with women and love interests and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a rock star refugee. And yeah, I already told James on the when we talked about the album that the wall itself is a symbol for like, you know, every brick is like, you know, something bad that's happened, and then you add that to building off your emotional disconnect with the world so you can kind of preserve what remaining sanity you have. That's, I think, applies to a lot of people with like, you know, them getting addicted into things like alcohol, drugs, and sex and all that, or rock and roll. And for the movie, you literally see that happen when he turns into the dictator.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't pick up on that actually.
I thought
Like that's at that point, like when he after Comfortably Numb plays and he
when he
literally
when he becomes Hitler.
yeah.
yeah, when he literally
Yeah. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
when he literally tears off his
Oh.
skin, shedding and becoming a new person.
Right.
like an angry person on top of that, like someone who like resents everything they grew up with.
Yeah, like he like what it's kind of like what Joker likes to.
And he was
Likes
like
to
literally
deal with-
around. He was like, "Oh, that guy looks like a blank, and that guy looks like insert anything."
Yeah, and that one's got spots.
yeah. Like
If I had my
And
way,
he-
I'd have
he-
all of you shot.
I mean, it's weirdly like 1984, and also like 2020. You know, it's like
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, yeah, it's talking just
it's the same thing.
hating people for being different.
I mean, it's like
Yeah, that's
loosely
all-
like
that's what we all want.
McCarthyism during the Cold War. It's like insane, and it's weird to see like that type of ideology repurposed now.
I think we gotta let James use a bit more talking. I know he's got a lot. He's got written down.
Most
Still
of my
looking.
stuff isn't about like the historical and cultural aspects. It's just that I connected with the music and the imagery.
It's
mostly.
all of that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so cool. Like for some people, of course, you can reference, you know, tearing down the Berlin Wall, but
Yeah, for
I don't
me,
think about that. I think about the personal aspect.
yeah,
of
for
it.
me, it's a much more personal connection.
Well, I think tearing down the Berlin Wall is not like a big issue for us because we weren't like around during then.
Right.
To an older audience, it might be like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, my dad talks about that too, and
Yeah,
like with a friend as well.
But for now, like for us, like what the wall represents to me is like every fucking like soldier or policeman doing like the wrong shit, essentially.
Okay.
Mhm.
Being like on the bad side of history, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's valid enough interpretation. I mean, any interpretation I think is valid.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say anything about that.
Yeah, I guess I would agree that like any interpretation of it is valid, but to me that's like building that wall requires maybe like thousands of bricks, you know, to build it and make like this force that is hard to like stop.
Well, yeah. I can see that. I like that it ends on the I don't know if you picked up on this, James, at the shot of like that one kid that is taking the bricks from the wall and putting it in his truck. He's gathering bricks to build his own wall.
Mhm.
So as like this thing is kind of ever going with everybody.
Right. I was actually unclear about the kid.
Well, I clear it up for you.
No, I mean, is it explicit that the kid is not the main character?
Yeah, it's not. He's got blonde hair. It looks completely different. This is after the wall's been. I mean, at the very end.
Yeah.
The end. The kid that's throughout this movie with the black hair, the bowl cut. Yeah, that's the main character.
Yeah, okay. I thought you meut him for a second.
No, because it showed a different.
I was like, no,
kid
I
at the end.
definitely thought that was supposed to be him.
Yeah, no, that is.
Yeah, it just felt inappropriate to bring up my notes because they're about like the animation and stuff.
I mean, go for it. Say what you gotta say.
Yeah.
Me and Mo have been doing most of the talking.
Yeah.
Just that-
I've just been fucking flowing off the cuff.
just that I really love every time that it shift from live action to animation. I
yeah,
loved
that part with the like when it first shows like the scary mantis vagina lady.
Mhm.
Scary.
And Pink is in the corner.
Hey, scary vagina lady. That's
Yeah,
not a thing.
it's like, and it's real life and the cartoon in the same one. Like that's
Mhm.
in the 80s. Like that's fucking mind blowing, and it's crazy how well that's done.
It looked amazing.
Can I say it would be like fun to watch this not on drugs?
What?
I watch the sober all the time.
Were you not on? Were you on
I
drugs?
don't think YouTube allows you to be not on drugs when you're describing stuff. So I'm playing within the lines.
I think you're thinking about Yellow Submarine. That's the movie you want to watch while high. This,
I would
feel
rather
like-
watch this.
if you weren't sober, I feel like you wouldn't pick up on a lot of what this movie.
Well, I think the
it
melding
is
of it
about.
would be like super like neat.
Oh yeah, to like watch the animation, but
Yeah,
even
animation
still,
and like everything. I think the Yellow Submarine would be more enjoyable,
yeah.
but at the same time, I found this fun. Well, not fun. I found this enjoyable without it, but I think I would be interested in trying it without.
So I think I've been talking like about kind of everything this movie because obviously like I like to look at this in depth, and so I guess so does everyone on this couch, which is really cool. You kind of talk more about like historics and society part. I want to hear what James has to say about the personal.
I've got
aspect.
notes.
I know. I want you to get to your
read
notes.
out,
that's
read
why.
out your read out your notes.
What do I have? I especially love the England flag turning into a bloody crucifix.
Yes, I love that.
That was one of my favorite images. Very powerful.
I'm glad.
I wrote that everything bleeds into each other
Glad you
seamlessly
brought that up. Yeah.
and beautifully, and the music
Agree.
fits perfectly on top and never feels intrusive or unnecessary.
I'm not
obviously.
sure if you remember the shot, but it's like when that bird turns into like this post, and it's got like the rib cage showing, and it's like
Mhm.
it's like showing, and then all the
Yeah.
planes are coming out.
Now,
My dad has a shirt of that, and I really fucking want it because it's so cool. It's such a cool image.
I mean, like it's to me that like represents like the like blitzkrieg on fucking the UK.
you be on it.
Yeah. Because like historically, I know that was the thing that was like terrifying to people.
I mean, the song that plays with it, "Goodbye Blue Skies," is
Yeah,
just about
like-
the terror of war.
these like I remember that.
Run for shelter, something. Yeah.
I remember that, and I remember a lot of the imagery, like it really hit and stuck with me. Like, because last week when we were talking, I couldn't remember.
And
half
a lot
the
of it is
things.
graphic too. Like right at the beginning of that scene where it's just a bird and it fucking explodes into this,
Mhm.
this monstrous plane.
But yeah, when you were asking me if I remembered all the stuff in Yellow Submarine, I couldn't remember. I couldn't pull a lot
It
of
sounds
that
like
stuff
this stuck with you.
back up. Yeah, I remember a lot of the images like very vividly, and I'd want to see this again for sure.
Yeah, and you
I'd
should
watch
definitely listen to the album before you watch the movie again,
Mhm.
so that way you can like,
contextualize it.
recontextualize it almost. Yeah, and it uses the animation a bit more sparingly than I think I remember, but it's done so powerfully.
Right.
I think the insane amount of like history that goes into this is like what I really
There's just so much to
There's-
unpack about
yeah.
this, and there's like so much you can take from it.
He is basically a product of World War II, which is essentially what the Cold War is. Is like, I don't know. It brings so much forward that I like about it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And honestly, like, until we had this discussion about it, I wasn't thinking about it nearly as in depth as I am now.
Mhm.
But I was probably gonna be like, I don't know, like. But now that we're discussing it, I think about
I think-
okay, all these situations that happened are a product of essentially World War II, which is basically the entire Cold War,
yeah.
which basically defined history as we know
I
it.
think I want to talk a bit more narratively, so let's shift gears to focus.
Yeah,
What'd you
that-
guys think of the main character, Pink?
Is that his name?
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
They also on the phone say Mr. Floyd, Mr. and Mrs. Floyd, so
Mhm.
his name is literally Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, what'd you think of him and how he was done in his performance and all that?
His performance was
Just-
great.
Just, overall like impressions of like
The
main
character, I mean, I really connected with.
yeah, because you just sit
even
there, just dissociating, watching TV.
This movie did not need dialogue at all. I don't think. Like, it's perfect.
Well, I
the
mean,
way it is.
honestly, you can hardly hear it with the copy that we had in the TV for some reason.
Right, but it was very sparingly.
The story is told through visuals and music, and even those alone, you have so much to take from it.
There was just not ever a moment where I thought like, I wish there was more talking. I guess, like it felt perfect to me. And the character, like very much, I connected with emotionally, and I really did like that. Basically, this whole movie was him sitting in a chair watching.
Yeah, but
TV
you just get a look at his psychological downfall, and I think a lot of the imagery, like him in the pool and he's falling, is like a really good image, and like it used it again too.
Yeah, and there's like the water turns into blood, and he like the PTSD.
Yeah,
of his
some
dad,
of it's really graphic too.
Mo, you looked like you wanted to say something.
I'm just thinking about like just keep on going.
Oh, so okay, then I got.
Well, did you want to say anything about the character? Because I had.
I've got more. I've got more to say about the character.
Okay.
I think the character represents the writer himself.
Yeah, it's definitely Roger Waters, but it's a lot to do with their former band member Syd Barrett, and that
what happened to him?
He ended up his mental health and psychological health. There you go. Thank you. He just ended up going a bit crazy because of the sheer amount of drugs he was taking. Like he took so much, and then he just ended up being basically schizophrenic, and it was really sad for them to see.
Was that a product of drug use, or was it
that, and also he wasn't mentally well to begin with.
Okay.
There's a lot that's said about Syd, and he's like, the most important. There wouldn't be Pink Floyd without him, but he ended up having to leave the band because of that. After their second album, and there's a lot of material that was written based off of him. And
was he like really close with everybody? I assume.
Oh yeah, no, they were best friends. They all loved him.
Because there's like weird bands where like everybody's like super distant.
Yeah, they're just like whatever. No, they were all really.
They're like, oh yeah, we're in a band, but it's like business.
They were all really best friends. Like they went to school together, and that's what makes it so tragic. And at one point, they were recording. They were recording one of the tracks for the Wish You Were Here album, and he just shows up in the studio one day like unannounced, and he just gained a lot of weight and shaved his hair and eyebrows, just like the main character did in the movie.
Okay,
right.
And that was really tough on the band. Everyone was crying to see him like that because he was unrecognizable. Like I can pull you before and after. It's really crazy, and he ended up dying at the age of 60.
That's actually like a lot of people. That's very young, to die at 60 versus like I mean
right.
Like
so there's what he looks like
75 or 70.
That's like him when he was fresh in the band, and then that's how he showed up to the recording studio.
Yeah.
Really scary stuff, man.
So Mo, did you want to comment on the character?
I think I can't really think of anything.
It's basically just
That's fine.
I feel like
biographical.
I've said a lot of things.
It's Roger Waters and Syd Barrett, and talks a lot about them.
I've got a note. One particularly like beautiful shot I thought was when the kid was leaving the tunnel with the train tracks. I just really was like, yes. I don't know why. It looked very visually powerful to me, and pleasing.
Like with all the kids are in the train.
No, the just the little boy. The young version of Pink.
Yeah.
I believe it was him.
It's
when he
Pink.
was leaving the tunnel, the train tunnel, and you see like his silhouette, and you see
Mhm.
out like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
I
you're
just
talking about.
took note of it because I really loved the shot.
Did you pick up on the, I guess, kind of on the nose imagery of the Holocaust with the kids all on the train?
Yes. And yeah, I wrote that because the school kind of gives off Holocaust vibes and prison vibes, and just
And people give it some flack, the movie, because they're like, oh, you really compared school with the Holocaust? It's just like, well, yes.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, not that far, but like, you know.
I was like,
But they did.
It's like yes but no, you
but
know?
they did, and I don't have a problem with it.
Yes but no, like boarding schools were fucking awful, and it's like
Well,
kind of
I think
the
it's
theme
just
that
about
connects them.
obedience more than anything.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the things that school basically teaches is obedience to like the authority of your teacher.
Yeah. And then it talks
And
about like
it's,
the higher
terrible. Like I think that aspect of school is terrible.
up it talks about like the higher up system that everyone
But that's
points
also
out.
like American individualism, which is like pretty unique compared to like other countries.
Right.
Right. I said I didn't want to look away to take notes, so ironic because I took that note.
Yeah. That's good though.
Was every song from the album featured in this film?
No. Well, wait. No. I thought "Hey You" was on this. Was
Yeah.
in this movie, but I guess it's not.
Right.
I think there might have been like a couple of smaller tracks, but I believe so. There was a couple songs on and extra like extended versions of some songs that were in this movie, but on the album. Like, did you
Okay.
pick up on the song that's not in the album but in the movie?
I thought I did when it was playing. Obviously,
it's the animated thing with the It's called "What Shall We Do Now," and it starts off like that wall, like made of cities, like spawning in, and then
yes. Okay,
going
then I did.
through. Oh, it's such a
I
good track.
I thought of it at the moment, and I really liked the song.
I fucking love it.
And I knew I was not going to be able to refer to that in any way that meant anything.
Well, refer to it.
I mean, I just did.
He did. He did it for me.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out like
He
how
yeah.
awesome that track is and how upset I am that it's not in the album.
Yes. Okay. That doesn't.
It just basically has to do with materialism and like what will make you happy. That's what the song is about.
I took a dumb note here.
I don't think-
Sorry.
Well, can I say like
Yeah, go for it.
materialism in general? I think it's a very like consumer based thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like I don't feel it will make you happy. I think it serves to like keep you pacified.
Yeah, and that's what the song
Uh,
talks about.
Yeah.
It talks about
don't know.
status too, like you
Yeah,
know,
like-
words. Should we buy a new guitar, drive a more powerful car?
Mhm.
Should we do all
Yeah.
these things? You know.
I mean, I would like a more powerful guitar. You know, not a more powerful car.
a more powerful guitar.
So I like how he said that in unison. It's pretty nice.
But then it's like, should we also like just work ourselves to death, stay up all night?
oh
and,
no,
You know, just basically kill ourselves because of these things that we want. You know,
if you've ever had a job you like just hate,
or just worked retail. Period.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I've had a like I don't know, I've had a job that like actually made me want to kill myself, and fuck that shit.
I mean, even
You
like even for me with the last job that I worked, like there was a lot that you know, there are times where like I enjoyed it, but like looking back, I wasn't able to do the things that I really wanted to do and focus on, and it like kind of is what this movie talks about with the
Mhm.
hammer down the nails, like, you know, in order to live, you know, in this world and to contribute to everything, you have to like kind of get rid of your
Mhm.
what makes you individual and what you want, and it does kind of
Yeah.
feel like you're just getting beat to a pulp in that way.
Mhm.
And it's parallel with school and all that.
Mhm.
And for me, that's what makes it personal. Like, that's talking about all that is like how I feel.
Well, feeling like, and I know it's like another big Pink Floyd reference, but like feeling like you're just part of the machine, or
Well, actually, the
The Machine Witch to Rage Against.
yeah, the fuck, Welcome to the Machine. That's not what the song is called, but it's that that song is about the music industry.
Yeah. I was more. I don't know what that song's about. I'm just saying my own
Right, your own
usage of
interpretation,
machine.
Right.
Being this part of just or a wall. Like they're both actually good
You're
metaphors.
just a cog in the machine. You're just a brick in the wall.
For what I'm trying to say. Yeah, they both work
essentially.
just as well. And when you like take that perspective on your own life, it's very like you can have a very emotional response to that, which I think this movie goes into a lot of, or at least could be interpreted that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So
It's
I
a
had
very strong interpretation of it.
a dumb little note.
Okay.
I don't know how else to refer to the guy. But I said the dude with sunglasses.
Pink.
Yeah. When he wore his sunglasses out, he looked kind of like Harry from Twin Peaks and Jerry Seinfeld mixed.
Yep.
And I thought that was
he kind of looks like a more depressed Jerry Seinfeld.
yeah.
A little bit.
We're depressed, Jerry. Talking about a fucking feature.
Powerful moment alert when he starts destroying the apartment.
Oh yeah.
And the music kicks on.
That's
I just wrote, oof.
That's a really strong part, and like that's obviously what I think of when I hear the album version. I mean,
Right.
Even in the
That's
album,
necessary
you do,
to me.
Well, yeah, even in the album, you hear him like thrashing, plates and other glass and stuff.
I think I remember noting I didn't like the weird sharp noises in that song.
But
We did
that's
the
the
album, and then
context.
you told me like, well, in the movie he's doing this, and I was like, oh, I don't care. I haven't seen the movie, and like, no. Like,
yeah, but now you get the context.
This is necessary for me to like feel that song that
see,
powerful.
now for when you listen to the album, you can play that whole scene in your head because it includes the dialogue from the girl.
Right.
Were they created like simultaneously?
Yes, basically.
Okay,
like
okay.
when he wrote out like the whole story and ideas for everything, and planned the album, movie, and tour. Like I said,
Right.
so like he already knew like this was going to be happening.
Okay.
There was just
He basically had like the spirit of it
Yeah.
developed in like the album.
he had a lot of specifics, and it's really crazy like how much of it that we see now kind of just came out of him the first time.
Right. And you already mentioned it, but like I took note of that when his apartment just becomes a giant white room, and then you see like the shadows and the animations start to come in to the picture, and just that imagery of him just cowering in the corner was like extremely powerful. Like that's like around where I felt like I'm gonna cry.
Well, it's because that song too. That song is the most powerful for me.
Right.
That's where it kills me, dude. Every fucking god. Okay. Shit. I do wish the album was more filled with that, but like, what can I already want out of it?
Yeah, I think like obviously I haven't been through like some of the other stuff here that like what some of the more war themed or like education system and like all that stuff. Like I really like what they're doing.
Yeah,
but like I connect with the personal relationship aspect like a lot.
I mean, you're a
I'm sure
musician. Shouldn't you be able to like kind of relate to like being this creative mind in this kind of capitalist world?
Yeah, and that's why I felt the whole movie. But I
and it's
particularly
like no one cares about you unless you're famous and can make money.
Yeah, but I particularly could like personally relate to when it became about his relationship that had fallen apart, and this
like,
little the outrage that he has about it, and
the whole like cheating thing and adultery and like her not answering the phone. That's some heavy hitting shit, dude.
That like, since that was something I think like any of us, probably a lot of people could connect with, that particularly made me emotional personally.
Yeah. And
Um,
like the whole outburst at the apartment is just like, it finally piling up too high, and he wasn't happy like with all this, and he had to get rid of that stress.
Right.
And then it shows like a little bit more about the character when he like organizes it all so meticulously.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great image though too.
And I also love the imagery of the chair and the TV just being in all those different places, and then the child walking through all the memories.
Oh yeah, like the I think that one of the strongest ones.
And then it leads up to the man being unconscious, Pink.
Yeah. Well, right before that, I think is one of the strongest images is like the kid with his hand on the TV watching like his future self just sitting there like he always has been.
Mm-hmm. And
that's a really strong thing.
And even though I already loved Comfortably Numb, like it was one of my favorites. I don't care, it's basic. But
it's basic, but it's
I don't care.
really
It makes
good.
me
I'm not
think
gonna
of,
I'm not gonna fault you for that.
The American football album Uncomfortably Numb versus Comfortably Numb.
Well,
Genuinely Comfortably Numb is one of the best songs on that album, and
yeah, but
you could thank David Gilmour for it.
But I love how the film contextualizes it again.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I already love that song, and like it's stronger now. Like that's just what this film did over and over
That's
again.
basically just like about that escape that people like need lots of the times, and that we're kind of complacent with. At least some of us, destroying ourselves for that.
Right.
Like, how far are you willing to go?
And
he's just really like that's obviously like the height, so he's like not there already mentally, because that's when he tears away. What did you think of the when they were dragging him out to the car and like he's kind of melting away and like rotting?
And what? Rioting?
Rotting.
Oh, rotting.
Like his skin is melting off and becoming like this monster.
I think.
Oh,
just-
yeah.
I don't know if you picked up on it.
It's
When
really
he's like-
well, yeah.
It's the same thing he became in the beginning, where he's just like the mouth hole without like the nose and like the two eyes.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
face.
that was like that same face, and it was like recontextualized.
It's reused a lot in this movie, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was, but it seems like the beginning and the end used it the most. Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
used it at the beginning like once, but it was super significant, and at the end it was like, oh shit.
I really love the animation where it shows that same face too, and then like it protrudes out, looks up, and then like its jaw it gets unhinged and like the eyes like bulge out a bit, like it's in like a lot of pain, like really wants to scream.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
And I always
probably.
thought that like
I think it's on the it's in the cover of that.
on the cover.
That no, not that. It's something else. That's another amazing image too. Like the
That
actual
image I
cover.
thought was dumb until I watched this. I think I told you I never like cared for that picture.
I'm so
but
glad that a lot of your early
it's just-
conceptions got turned around.
It
from
did.
The whole
It did.
context and concept.
This movie did a lot for Pink Floyd for me.
Like I love that. The face getting outstretched from the brick. Yeah, because you didn't know it's coming from like the brick.
No,
or, like, what it
it's-
really means.
I can definitely connect with it now. Like I didn't really get it.
It's a really cool image, man.
Mhm. I wanted to say that I felt like, and now it makes sense that the whole vision of this movie feels completely just uncompromised. Sort of like David Lynch with Eraserhead. This is someone's vision just unaltered. It feels like just this poured out of somebody's fucking
like it's
psyche.
it's an isolated
Yeah.
thing.
And
I
it
mean,
really connects.
for the most part it is. I think there are some musical parts that weren't fully agreed with Waters, and he wanted a star in it, but it is for the most part like his image, everything that he wanted, but obviously like it's a cost because this whole thing broke the band apart.
Right. Just as a piece of art, as a story, as what it is, it just feels like someone's consciousness spilled out onto screen.
Oh yeah.
or subconscious, I guess.
And then all of a sudden, like the whole the concept, image, and thought of like an actual wall is like so much more powerful.
Right. And I guess I'm on to final thoughts here.
I think
So-
yeah, we talked a lot about it already.
Okay. So I wrote that the whole film hits thematically and emotionally for me. Everything comes together like a carefully crafted painting. Like it's just masterfully done. I wanted to make sure that if you knew, there's really not a Blu-ray of this.
There isn't, no. The fan base really wants one, and when
I want one.
Waters was making an announcement, that's what they thought that he was going to announce, is the wall for Blu-ray, but it was just going to be another tour.
Right.
So yeah, we're all pretty
Everyone wants it.
you could join the club of being
Okay.
kind of heartbroken that there's no Blu-ray.
I will. And I definitely have new respect for the record. And how about you guys for final thoughts? And then we'll do our ratings.
Yeah, Mo, final thoughts.
I would say I liked the experience overall, even though I'm not as interested in that kind of like narrative where it's mostly music and not dialogue. Yeah, do you want me to give you my score right now, or?
No, just if you
Okay.
had any.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like final
I would
closing
say
thoughts.
I definitely liked it. It's just hard for me to get into that type of like music narrative, but I did.
I can
like
understand.
It. Especially because like music touches me,
Mm.
in like on its own in its way, but it feels like the same. If I enjoyed like one of my favorite albums from like fucking Chon, and like the added animation to it, I might be more into it, but like I'm not as into Pink Floyd. But yeah,
Right.
I,
But I'm still glad like you had like you took enough out
Yeah.
of it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
it speaks to you personally.
I think like honestly, like even like this discussion added to my like contribution from it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it does. Like you talk about different people have different
Until I start, like-
interpretations and what it means to them, and like
yeah. Until
it
I
just
start thinking
adds
about
more
it
depth.
deeply, I don't think about like, oh shit, the historical context of everything in this, or like you know,
there's a whole
growing
bunch
up-
of different
i- i-
constructs.
If
Yeah.
like my father had died in World War II, like
how would that affect you as a
Yeah,
person?
like,
How would that
and-
affect you growing up too?
especially like growing up in the UK, where it's
And
like very like class based.
And growing up with an overprotective mother.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, fucking thank God my mom wasn't overprotective.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
think-
it's all a giant fucking amalgamation of who a person is, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it a lot.
So I guess for my closing thoughts, again, for me, the movie and album are interchangeable. This is pretty much like as soon as you watch the movie, you immediately recontextualize or just have more context for the album, which I haven't really thought of until now because I think I experienced them both like pretty quickly back to back.
Well, we all kind of have different takeaways, which shows
Well, yeah.
the versatility of this as
yeah,
well.
it's super
Because-
versatile.
There's me who connects with it a lot more because it's a visual medium. And like just a lot of those images and a lot of this loose narrative that is there really contextualizes it and like kind of blew me away.
And I guess for
and
me, it's
then-
more music based.
No. And then I was gonna say for Mo, it was more like he said,
Historical
music
and-
connects with him, and then for you, you're like they're interchangeable. So like we kind of have all three like kind
Gotcha.
of perspectives of like how
There's a lot to
how you
take
could
from
connect
this.
with this.
Um,
Yeah,
I guess like a couple other trivia things, like for the tour, I'm surprised they even managed to pull this off. But like throughout the show, like other crew, like stage crew is like actually building a wall
Right.
across the whole stage, like huge actual bricks. And at the very end, like they break it and tumble it all down with that sound. And they even like have a little hole in one of the walls, and it's like it has that scene of the guy just sitting there with the TV.
that's awesome.
Is this like a life play thing?
It's a tour. It's
It was
like a
how they
show.
toured it.
It's how they showed.
God, man, that would be fucking fun.
It is amazing,
to watch.
and especially now with all that like on-screen projection, they have like all this crazy like animations and shit going on.
You said your dad
It's
was
awesome.
into like Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah, he saw them
Yeah.
live a few times. But
Can't
yeah,
relate.
yeah, I know. I fucking wish that
I mean,
that tour
that'd
sounds
be-
like the
that'd be
best
insane.
thing ever.
I mean,
And,
the last show I saw was like in fucking March because of fucking COVID. So.
And like David Gilmour plays the solo to "Comfortably Numb" at the top of the wall
Mhm.
with that spotlight.
Ooh,
But,
that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think this is definitely like something everyone should experience, so they can kind of get a deeper sense of self at very least like have that awareness, I guess, of like the world kind of around you.
Yeah.
I think everyone can
kinda-
take something out of it.
Yeah, like there's something
You can
there's
always-
something that anybody can take out of it. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, you can always contextualize something out of it, which I enjoy.
So I guess I'd say it's a must
Yeah.
experience for me. The album, the movie, just yeah. So
And
Hell yeah, brother.
for me not being like the big Pink Floyd guy, like the most I've listened to them is when you recommended it.
Yeah. 'cause I think
Like
it's a
it just
must experience.
it was kind of irrelevant to my movie experience. That I had
the bands
That
and
I
all
had any prior engagement with it. Yeah.
I mean,
I'd say I'm not as big of like a Pink Floyd fan, but I enjoy like understanding historical context,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what makes it
well,
great to me.
I'll tell you guys this, and I said it on the podcast before. The Wall is the least Pink Floyd-y sounding album.
Yeah.
Really?
You did
Yep.
tell me that.
It like
I haven't. I guess
you listen to all
I've-
their albums, the
I haven't
Wall
heard much
sticks
Pink
out.
Floyd, I guess most of my Pink Floyd I've heard is like from the Wall itself.
Yeah, like everything else, the Wall sticks out with
I
everything
think I
else.
saw this when I was like early high school.
It's-
So like 2000. When's high school start? 14. So like early 2002, 2003. So like it means a lot different to me than it did then because
well,
to me,
see
at
now,
that time I was just like, wow, this is weird.
no, see, this is like, yeah. So I mean, for me, I've seen this also when I was in high school, which was like 10 years later, 2012, 2013, and like I obviously still like took a piece of that. I took a little brick of that with me, because like at that time, you think that
little brick in
your
the wall.
your problems are like way bigger than they really are, but like it still kind of like help mold me as who I am as a person, and like over time with all these other experiences and emotions and shit, there's a lot more stuff you can take from it when you revisit it, and you've had that piece with you all along, so it's like kind of ever evolving. So
I
Right.
it's a really cool position to be in.
Okay, so I'm thinking like the opposite, where like thinking like, oh, I contributed to being like another brick in the wall type thing.
Right.
You-
Yeah,
like,
I
and
get what
that's
what you mean.
I think about because I've seen it at this age. I mean, like when I was younger, I just thought it was weird. For now, I'm like, oh shit, like it contributing to some sort of system means something, and
Right.
I
And
think that's what it
Right,
means to me.
and I think for
Like,
me,
the wall itself is a system, regardless of like it could be any sort of system, but to me, it's like it reflects current events.
yeah.
You know?
And I think for me, I think James is kind of on the same page. Like I said earlier, each brick is something bad, traumatic, or a bad experience that you just
Well-
kind of pile up on top to board yourself off
I was actually gonna say,
emotionally.
like I guess you have explained that to me before. I forgot, but I would say like if there was like if your reason's over on the left and Mo's is on the right, I'm more towards Mo's interpretation.
Okay,
Surprisingly
well,
enough.
I mean,
that's
because-
fair enough.
well,
for me-
here's the thing. Like, I
well-
don't think it's like left or right for like interpretation. I feel like, oh, you're saying if
I'm
it
just
was?
saying if there was a meter,
Yeah. I feel like it represents like
it's
the system itself with quotations.
for
Yeah,
me
mine-
it's kind of closer to Mo's interpretation, but in a very like emotional and like personal way.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that's
And-
what my interpretation is. It's really like an emotion-based meaning for what the wall is.
Yeah, and you explained what the wall was intended to mean or what it meant to Roger Waters, and
Well, for him, it came. This whole concept, I think you've heard before, came from him spitting on a fan once during the Animals tour, and he actually just got a real intense feeling of wanting to build a wall between him and the crowd.
yeah,
Oh, a very literal wall.
Yeah,
yeah,
but then he obviously turned it to.
Yep, you told me that.
emotional.
Oh yeah.
and there's just so much to take out of it. I guess
Yeah, we already said closing thoughts, so let's
we'll do
just
our rankings,
say give some rankings.
and I guess we'll go from me to you this time.
Ooh, I like that. I like being in the middle every time.
Well, I mean, I think for
Oh yeah.
for the next movie, you go last.
It won't matter who starts for Cube.
Yeah. So
Okay, cool.
There you go, James.
Cool.
Floor's yours.
I mean, as long as it's not Mo.
I
It
guess
should just,
I don't.
it should just be
I
me
guess
or
I
you.
don't matter. It's cool. Whatever.
Floor's
Okay.
yours, James.
So I'm giving this one a 10.
Damn,
I went there.
A
you
10?
went there. You gave it a.
Wow.
I had no
I
problem.
think that's the first recommendation that someone's given a
God
10 on.
damn,
Like,
boy.
that wasn't their own recommendation.
It is.
That 10 makes me fucking
I'm
hard.
proud, dude. How
Hard.
do you think I feel? I fucking showed him this. I've
I'm
got a
about-
boner
I'm
with a
about to
capital
check
O.
for hardness.
Well, we know that we've had our track record of being stingy with our perfect scores, and
Yeah.
I think when it comes to something someone else recommended, we're especially just like, I can only give it a 9, but like there's like no reason really, and I didn't really consider even giving this a 9. Actually, I was just like, this is I have no problems with this, and I'm not gonna.
I love it.
I'm gonna give it what it deserves.
Oh,
Perfect
yeah.
score
Awesome.
from me.
Damn, that's a. The thing that sucks about like a 5-point score. Well, holy shit! I feel like she just pissed my arm. Okay,
The cat.
yeah, the cat. I think I'd give it like a 7.5, maybe like a high 7.5, or like 7.8. But that's not like really a thing on like a 3-point scale, which I'm used to thinking of.
Right.
Like I want to give it close to a 4 out of 5. But it doesn't connect with me enough to give it that score. But I think like a
Strong
3.5,
7.
a strong 3.5. You know,
Wait, what'd you say you were giving it? Like
Probably.
actually?
somewhere between like a 3.5 and a 4.
Okay.
You know,
I mean that's fair.
I enjoyed it, and I actually like this discussion made me enjoy it more.
That's good. I mean, for
because
me,
I contextualized it more than I would have normally.
since I got like a new set of eyes, well, 2 new sets of eyes and everything, and talking about it more in depth, which I really haven't had to do.
And I know you.
I think for my
I know you save your ratings until we discuss too, which is pretty cool.
I pretty much save my ratings as well, unless it's like
what does that mean? Save it.
fucking a shit show.
What do you mean save it?
You don't like you wait
I'm
for
not, like,
you
immediately
wait
stuck.
you wait for our discussion. You don't write your
Well, I
number.
already had it rated on Letterboxd, but it's probably been a while since I revisited the movie, and I remember it just being a lot more depressive, and without being transformative. That's how I remembered it. But obviously, revisiting it and having this discussion, it's talked me into giving it a 10. So
Okay.
that's where it stands for me. It's just as potent, just as much to say, if not even more so transformative than the album.
Yeah.
And it can recontextualize that, and this movie can fucking change a person if you let it.
Yeah, I think for me it definitely was depressive, but I really connect with really depressing shit. So
It wasn't overly so for no issue.
right. Oh no. Just thought it was a beautiful movie. So we have one more film to discuss.
I'm actually was really looking forward to talking about this more
Okay.
than James's movie.
All right.
I think. So usually since you're rec, you should give a quick synopsis of it.
So in Cube, the classic sci-fi movie, I think 5 people find themselves like
It's 7.
7. Okay, yeah, 7 characters find themselves trapped in a cube-like situation. I think it's like 64 by 64, but they don't figure that out until later. I remember watching it as a kid. I hadn't seen it again since like probably like early 2000s.
Mhm.
And I remember liking it a lot as then, like at that moment. And actually, I think like it's not like one of my favorite movies, but I think it's like a cool indication of what sci-fi can do itself.
Right.
It can offer like situations that normal movies can't, and that's what I like about it. Is like putting people in these situations and watching characters interact is like one of my favorite things about
So
movies in general.
yeah, the thing we should go over is the nature of the cube itself is that it's labyrinthian and filled to the brim with very lethal traps.
Yeah,
And there's no indication of where people are until they kind of figure out a system later on in the movie, and that's pretty much it. It's just how would people react to the situation, and
but they're also grouped accordingly.
the whole
They're
movie
grouped in a way that they can figure it out as long as they work together. But if they don't work together, they never find out anything, which I feel like is pretty like similar to like people.
the whole
I think as a whole, as a species, we could work together and find out more than we could without working together.
the whole premise and situation of the movie is super interesting. So like I really enjoyed that a lot, and wanted to see what they would do with it. James, general thoughts?
Okay, so I said the description reminded me of, and I told you, of like Saw before Saw, and then the cold open supported that too. And after seeing the whole movie, I'm gonna say this is Saw before Saw. In my opinion, I definitely, yeah.
Sort of, but like
I mean, not what Saw became, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first Saw.
Really, I think it's weird that the opening guy that inconsequentially dies to one of the traps is like the poster.
Yeah.
is the concept art. Like, he's on screen for like 3 minutes and like never ever referenced or thought of again.
What was your what was he called? The dove or some shit? The bird? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
He had a name where he was like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who's escaped every prison." And then,
No, that was before. That was like I'm talking
okay,
opening
okay.
shots.
Oh, you're talking about opening shot. Okay,
Yeah,
where it was
that
like
yeah,
just the guy dying.
the bald guy.
That's like
He's the poster dude.
Yeah,
he's
the
the guy that's on the
To
poster.
me, that was like the hook.
Yeah, it was the cold open.
Like,
Yeah,
to
but-
me, that was like, oh shit, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah,
here?
you immediately the thing is that's cool is that just from that cold opening is that you immediately understand like what's going on here.
yeah,
I think not like the deeper things
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what it is. Like it's a cube. There's a lot of different paths you could go. It's labyrinthian, and it will kill you like that without you even knowing. And it's a really graphic ass death too.
Oh yeah.
Like you watched this as a kid. Fuck. No wonder you turned out the way you did.
No wonder I'm so fucked up. Yeah. I probably saw it when I was like 11.
Yeah, so I said definitely like the Saw formula, which is interesting because this predates Saw.
Yeah.
And then,
I think this came out like 99.
It's 97.
yeah.
97.
So like, people are put
And it's
into
Canadian too.
a death trap
So
or
it's extra.
series of death traps and are picked off one by one as they uncover their secret connection and reasons to be here throughout the film. Then they all die by the end. That's how I thought it would go anyway. That's like a note I wrote early on. It turns out it's Saw, except they seemingly aren't connected. We don't really find out like why they're there that I remember.
I feel like they're not connected based on like that, but they're connected to because they can form a team if they work together, which I feel like is like the message of the movie.
Because it's all
And-
it's all really
if they
different
were to
people.
work together from the beginning and like understand what's going on, it could.
They're all really
Which Saw did in like the second and like ever since the first one, it became like that where the theme was recurring. Like if they worked together, no one had to die.
So
but
I think it's because
I wanted to say quickly that also they weren't all picked off one by one as I
No.
thought they'd be. It kind of like they picked a guy off right away after that cold open, and I was like, this is going to play out like Saw. And then like pretty much like 5 of them made it pretty close to the end. So
Well, I would say like even like what characters killed off each other versus like when you let the girl fall.
I think it's the whole message with that is even in a huge impossible to comprehend, almost alien cube structure that doesn't give a shit about humans, even in that situation, the cop is still the most dangerous thing.
Damn, you've gone astray.
So
Go fucking figure.
what'd you guys think like overall?
I mean, I just kind of said overall
Just, like,
already.
Enjoy or
I mean, obviously I recommended it, so I
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but I hadn't seen it in so long.
did it hold
You
up?
can
for you?
recommend something you don't enjoy.
I think there were some things that held back compared to what I like remembered, like some nostalgia that was like had gone away since I watched it.
Right.
But
See, I really enjoyed.
I really enjoy, especially considering it came out in '97 when I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's a huge thing, for a movie to last that long. I think.
Right.
And still remain like contextually like relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's to me, it's like weirdly like anti-government and anti-authoritarian.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
That's
I
also how I think in general.
really enjoyed the situation. Obviously,
Yeah.
I similar to James's movie. I wish that was a show. I really wish this were a game.
Oh,
I think that'd be really fucking
shit.
cool.
I didn't even think about that.
That could be
if,
cool.
if you made it like partly like open, but like have characters and partly do
A
a
cool like puzzle,
telltale story type.
Yeah,
this
puzzle
is a game. It's called Portal.
No.
Well,
This is
Okay.
what this actually reminded me of Portal.
it reminded me of it too because like these are all different chambers and tests and everything.
and
But
Cube.
for
But-
the whole
It's a companion
for
cube.
the whole
But
narrative,
there's no like, you don't have like 6. Okay, so imagine you have to like, you're given an option between these options
Oh,
without knowing. If you didn't know like why these are the traps and why they're not, and having to figure it out,
narratively,
that might be fun.
to me, this and Portal are extremely different.
well, yeah. It's not actually Portal. It was.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just some slight
Well, yeah. It's
A
puzzle.
little bit.
things that
but
come. It actually reminded
Yeah,
me of Portal. so.
it is a
puzzle like, but
Pu-
for
yeah,
me,
but
this movie is
puzzle.
far more sinister, and that is like kind of its message. Like, so you thought it was more like anti-government, authoritarian, and I understand that. To me, it's more like based off of nihilism and like kind of what's that fucking cosmic horror type.
So
Because we never figure out like what the cube structure is or where it came from or who did
I don't
it.
remember what this is from, but I think it was like this. I think I've seen the second one.
You know what? I think the cube is just an SCP.
It's been so long since I've seen it, but I think I saw the second one. Second one goes more into that.
Is it?
But
Please tell me the 2 is like in the cubed, in the squared position.
I'm gonna maybe spill the beans. I'm not sure, but what I'm saying is, it discusses more like the relevance of if someone remembers the crime they committed. If someone doesn't remember the crime they committed and why they're getting punished, does that matter? Like that makes a difference. Like if someone had like killed someone and that's why they were there, and they know that's why they're there, versus someone who had like accidentally like manslaughter somebody, and they don't know why. Does that make a huge difference into why they're there? Because to me, I think knowing the reason you're getting punished means you can stop it in the future. This is like
Yeah, that's a little rambly, but I get what you're coming from.
yeah. Like I'm saying, like they didn't discuss it in this one, but I think they discussed it in the second one, which I maybe had convoluted the two. But if you know why you're getting punished and you don't know, is it the same? If you're removed of memory of committing a crime, but you did the crime but you don't remember it, does it count?
Yeah, we said that.
mean,
I think
like,
to
I don't know.
piggyback off of James's thought, because I got how he thought of Portal. I think this is if Portal and Silent Hill like
Had a
Um,
baby.
did a fusion, huh?
Had a baby.
Yeah,
I think it's a what's his name?
I don't know.
David Lynch.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about. Fucking
Could you
Nikki.
imagine if David
I'm talking
Lynch
about Nikki
directed
Jakey,
this?
not David Lynchy.
What'd you say?
I said, could you imagine if David Lynch directed this?
I might have preferred that personally.
Well, I don't think we've gotten your general thoughts on this yet.
Well, I think I didn't enjoy it as much as you two.
That's fair.
That's what I'm gathering.
I mean, I like very literal movies.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I still think there's like some underlying narrative that's like trying to be said. I don't think it's as focused though as a
Wait.
few other movies.
No. I didn't need it to be weird. Like, look at the movie I recommended today.
No, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it was weird.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying there's like, there's some nuance.
yeah, I
in
would say it
this.
was weird in its own way. It's like a weird little sci-fi experiment. But it also, this is probably the lowest budget movie here today.
It's
With
it's surprisingly low budget. Like,
yeah, with a whopping 300,000.
it didn't even really occur to me that like, oh yeah, they're using the same set just over and over again, different lights.
Yeah, like there's like one set and maybe like a little bit of background. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Like it was one set, and that's one of the things that made it like, oh, you can use one set and make a fuck.
Like,
ton
yeah,
of
no,
money.
they used a lot of it.
Yeah.
They made
They just use like color changing LEDs, and they're like, oh yeah, this is good.
So I guess like more what I didn't enjoy was that it like the concept of this was cool. Like
That's what I enjoy the most.
I've always liked Saw like as a concept. That's why like well, I mean I do genuinely think the first one's pretty good. Anyway, but and so this concept like had me excited because I've always felt like if this concept was done well, it could be like one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
But like, they usually end up like Escape Room or like Saw past Saw 1. This one I think is better than a lot of those types of movies like Saw after Saw 1. But I guess what didn't work for me is that it felt like it wanted to be like character driven, but I wrote this spiel about like that
Read it out.
I felt
Tell me.
like most of the characters were kind of shallow and undeveloped and
I
even
I agree.
stereotypical.
Yeah.
They're definitely just vessels for the plot. And then I wrote that's not inherently a bad thing since the story like this doesn't call for fleshed out characters necessarily.
But the characters felt real still.
Well, I
to
said
me.
though I did become disinterested in their banter relatively quickly and wished that they didn't pretend there was like depth to be uncovered with their interactions. Especially didn't enjoy Quentin and Holloway, who got like a lot of screen time.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy Holloway nearly as much.
And I just said none of the characters felt deserving of the time dedicated to their interactions. So most of my problems with this movie were character because it
Same.
felt like it really wanted to focus on the characters and their interactions, but none of them were strong, and
Well,
none
see-
of them were.
For me, none of these characters are strong, and I just think all these characters are pieces of shit, except the girl.
Yeah, and I wanted more out of this concept. I really did.
Yeah, me too.
I felt a little
That's
like.
why I wish this were a game.
Mhm.
Like, because
Okay,
then it would be. I think then it would because you would be put in that situation, and then
Mhm.
it's immediately like, because what games are, it's like if you play like kind of a more on rails RPG, it's like, how would you feel about this situation being put into it,
Mhm.
and how would it be like if you experienced that and everything, rather than watching
That's how I
these
like to
like
play RPGs.
rather than what? Yeah, that's how
Yeah.
that's how half the people I think like to play RPGs. The other half like to piss around. But when it's on rails, you're kind of forced into that. But
Yeah.
that's beside the point.
Did you ever play Borderlands? Not Borderlands. Ugh.
Played it a little bit.
Outer Worlds.
No.
Worlds.
Outer Wilds.
Outer Worlds. It looked interesting, and I thought about
Okay.
picking it up.
I would highly recommend that, even though like it's irrelevant to the discussion.
Yeah, I think that if someone made this into a game, I think it would be far more interesting and transformative rather than just watching these 2D cutouts go through this emotional
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
I agree. Honestly, this is probably the lowest rating I give to anything we give today. Was my own fucking recommendation,
Go
which is
figure.
hilarious. I think.
Well, to be
because-
fair,
because
the
I
wall
hadn't seen it in so long.
the wall was a big thing coming, I think, for me and James.
Yeah.
And I kind of just like
I've wanted
toss
to
out
do
a
that.
trump
honestly,
card.
our discussion on the wall kind of made me improve my observation on the wall.
That's great.
You know, like
Glad.
you know, it went from like
V glad. But
somewhere between a 3 and 4 to like, or it went from
No,
somewhere
yeah, 2 and 3.
yeah. Originally, it was probably like a 2.5 to a 3,
Mm-hmm.
but it went from somewhere
out of 5.
Yeah, out of 5.
5, to like a 3.5 to a 4. You know,
Mhm, right.
based on our discussion.
But sadly, we're not talking about the wall.
Well,
yeah,
I know,
We're talking
but-
about the cube.
Yeah, but
I hadn't seen this since I was probably like 12, maybe.
We're talking about
Well,
a 6-sided wall.
But it's weird, like how I envisioned it from that time to now. You know, like
that happens a lot.
Also, I think it was really like kind of the development of events was done like it's an interesting concept, but executed in a really uninteresting way.
That's what I
that
felt
it
like.
was that the secret to getting out of here is math.
Oh,
Well-
I actually didn't like that.
I like the concept of it, but I think it was done so uninterestingly.
well,
and she's
I
just
think,
like
I think mathematics.
she's apparently a fucking like this college kid is just
Well-
a numerical genius.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna say like mathematics in that situation is
Like-
probably the way to get out.
Even if you're a student, like James, you're a student. Quick, is 646
wait.
a prime number?
actually,
I don't fucking know.
but I had a note
Probably not.
about
Well, that's why they had fucking Rain Man on their side.
that's so I wrote as soon as he was introduced that I had a speculation that the mentally handicapped person is going to turn out to be Captain Plot Device, and then I checked it off later.
It is.
I mean, yeah.
See,
like,
I was
just
think
like
I,
that's really contrived.
I think
to do.
early on, I gave this movie more credit, and
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think,
I
he's going to be
definitely-
Captain Plot Device. I thought it was, and here's where I give it more credit. I thought this was going to pose a philosophical like question on
Right.
on survival and human nature, where were they this guy, and especially how it was framed with Quentin. This guy's clearly a liability to them. And were they willing to forego a human life for their survival? And you know what they did with that? With that question that was gift wrapped right there?
Yeah.
did
They
nothing.
pissed all over it. They
I
pissed
agree.
it and
I
kicked
would
it
agree.
outside. Like,
But he's really good at numbers.
and
Yeah.
I mean,
He
but
can figure out the
they
prime of
they
anything.
turn they
Three,
turn
five.
they turn
Ah.
Quentin, which I really enjoyed, in the beginning half into just a mad dog or mad pig in this case.
Yeah.
We're like,
Pig.
we're also like, we said before where he drops the doctor, where she's just a cunt. Like he goes through all the effort to like pull her up in order to be like, ha, just kidding, I'm gonna drop you. Like,
Fuck you, baby.
why go through all that effort to pull her up if you're just gonna drop her?
Yeah.
He's just a
Like,
dickhead.
because
Well,
it's gonna
for
be more
suspense.
emotional.
You
Yeah.
can't forget the importance of
Oh,
entertainment.
look at the date
Yeah,
this
you're
came
right.
out.
No,
What's significant?
Oh god. I had a guess. Yep.
we'll just edit
hang
that
on.
part out.
Came out September 11th. I'm not sure if y'all know, but that's kind
Yeah.
of a significant date. You
Um,
never forget. In 1998.
You can just
so-
edit that out.
Yeah, so I had
Can I?
no, it's fine. I had this that
I thought that was a funny joke. I don't.
I had that speculation but it what else would that character be there for? That's just like
What I just said.
huh?
What I just said.
The
The whole
mentally handicapped
Yeah.
character?
what I had just said before, like what it could have done, but it didn't.
Oh, what did you say?
Nice, because it
I
could
thought
have.
you were talking about Quentin.
No, for the mentally handicapped person, like foregoing human life for their own survival. 'cause he's a
Oh, okay.
liability.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Like,
thought
it
you were
would've been-
talking about Quentin.
No,
Okay.
You
but
don't-
they
like-
could have.
If anyone
also-
else did, now they know.
But
Are we
then
allowed
they
to be
could
like-
have elevated that.
Like honestly, if I'm being straight in that situation, I'd be like, hey guys, we can't afford this cost.
See, but that's what
And,
is.
like,
it's
and-
It
what,
would pose that question.
Does
Yeah.
that mean I'm
it
like
would impose you
does
to
that
have
mean
that
I'm, like,
thought,
inhuman
That's
or like,
in that situation?
or
Does
it could have, like the movie probably did when he introduced him, is put that thought in your head, and then later, make you question like the how valid that thought was, and like how you should feel about that. Instead, it just pulls it out of the rug like, fuck you. You shouldn't have felt bad for trying to get, or you
Well,
should have
yeah,
felt
yeah.
bad for
They
trying to get
definitely
rid of him.
redeemed him later on.
And then
but initially, I
with-
would have been like,
with-
this is such a liability.
I just felt like he would be
Well-
the secret genius, and so when he did, I checked that out.
well,
But
that's the
Yeah.
movie pulling the rug out from underneath you with that philosophical
Well, I think
question.
also like
this movie did subvert some expectations.
With,
well, I would say this movie came out in like what 98, right?
With what you were
Yeah.
saying,
So it's hard to compare with like modern movies
hmm
in that aspect. So that's the biggest problem I
Yeah.
have. Is like once a person or a movie does it, it becomes more prevalent.
I don't know how tropey it was at the time.
I don't know
like,
either.
I don't either.
I'm not going to claim to.
But I know like a lot of like sci-fi fans love it.
hmm
But I'm not sure how tropey.
Before we get too far, I did want to bring up, like, as I got another idea when James thought I was talking about Quentin. They could have elevated it further as it progressed to,
Yeah.
okay, so you had this thought about this person being a liability. What if this person wasn't handicapped and the most fit and potentially competent,
Oh,
but he's
okay.
a liability?
See,
Which
maybe
it
he,
kind
like-
of does, but doesn't.
What if he was like maybe he with the other one, like maybe he had like fucking Tourette's
hmm
and he couldn't like control when he fucking shouts
Right.
versus like being like weirdly like a savant, like an idiot savant type thing.
Right.
Mhm.
I kind of I don't remember his name, but the handicapped person. Like I felt like Quentin was more of the liability, and
yeah.
He became
And-
a liability.
and the mentally handicapped person was more of a companion cube.
Well,
A companion cube that could have gotten them killed
Yeah.
very quickly.
I think what the thing I like about like sci-fi in general is that they offer these like questions like that. Like I'm not sure if you've seen Gattaca,
No,
Skylar, but
no, I haven't.
it offers like the story itself is its thing, but it offers more like
Right.
and I don't know, intuitive questions versus what the story itself is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm saying with this movie, it didn't have that much direction.
You just
Yeah.
wish it did.
And I would have enjoyed
Yeah.
it so much
Yeah.
more if it did.
It could have been like different if they had like shown the cube operator side of it.
Right.
I think the mystery is something that should be untouched. Like I did
Okay.
like that
Okay.
it wasn't really explained, because then it gives that whole nihilistic and cosmic horror type of approach to it.
Okay.
But that said, the character that was meant to communicate that is one of the most insufferable on
Yeah.
the screen, where he's just like, oh fuck it, I don't care, I'll just lay here. And he, even at the end when he
Yeah.
can
Talking
just
about-
leave, he's just like, I'll stay here.
You want to know something? Oh, you haven't started with us, but we've gone a few episodes into Stargate.
Mhm.
He's one of the characters in Stargate. Same actor.
Well, I don't care about the actor, I've just met the character.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about the actor. I'd like you to watch it with us. That's what I'm saying.
The actor I thought was fine. It's just
I
that
just
whole,
yeah.
because there is that
That character's in a lot
that-
of things.
the whole concept is, based in nihilism, and
Well,
he
isn't
just
that, like,
makes it, he makes me be like, oh fuck, I hate this. Like, you know what, fine, this
I feel like that's
fuck
like
your
my-
meaning, this is just Saw.
I would
or
say
whatever.
our generation as a whole, but I think it's my generation as a whole is very nihilistic. So it relates to that.
Well, like, I think with this generation and the one before too, it's like, yes, nothing, it's you made me do it. I'm gonna toss out a Rick and Morty quote.
Toss
It's
the shit, Bobby.
no, it doesn't matter. Like, none of the shit matters. So fuck it. Let's just watch TV. Let's just enjoy the time we have.
I mean, I agree.
He's just like, none of it matters. So I'm just gonna lay here. I'm not gonna kill myself though, because Like,
I mean, killing myself doesn't embrace
I don't
or solve
understand.
the problem.
I don't understand. There's no real character motive other than like we have to get out, and that's it.
Oh, I agree. I think I mean,
And
I give it a lot of leeway because how old it is.
yeah, I think the conflict between the characters is pretty forced as well. Like especially when you said like
Oh, it's
How-
so fucking plain.
how he drops Holloway because they hate each other because they just couldn't get along and
Yeah,
they
had
couldn't
one
get along.
argument. They really had one argument though.
Yeah,
like,
and they couldn't get along. Yeah, and that argument led to
she's
him
kind of a
dropping
bitch,
her.
but like it's obviously like she's put in a stressful situation. Everyone is, and nobody seemed to recognize
And
that.
yeah.
Like, oh, we're all stressed out, so
And
you know,
these-
we should
yeah.
cool it.
These characters can't just get along for 5 minutes.
I mean, even still, for it being out in 97, 98, whatever.
Yeah.
The effects and gore were done exceptionally well, I think,
yeah,
and it was
I had no problem with
genuinely
it.
off-putting. Like the dude getting his fucking face burned in.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, that's hard. That's tough.
Oh yeah, that was a amazing.
And you
effect.
see it done slowly too, so it's just like, fuck me. Like,
My only other notes were kind of just about that plot device character.
even when it doesn't. Oh, sorry to cut you off. It doesn't even when it doesn't show it like directly. When at the very end when he pulls Quentin back in, so like he's kind of halfway in between the cubes sliding, and you just see like the blood smear off
Yeah.
of that wall. I thought that was really powerful too,
Mm-hmm.
and tough. Clean. All right.
Right. Yeah, my only other notes were about that character because they wrote him like as subtle as Nicolas Cage in Wild at Heart with his jacket. Because he kind of like, I think this was him. That's why I wrote this. I think when he falls from like someone falls from the ceiling, it's just like this room is green.
This room is green.
Yeah, and then
Oh yeah, I loved how he just kept saying that. I thought that was
And-
pretty funny.
and then the other guy's like he doesn't like red rooms. Then I was like, foreshadowing.
I thought it was because the very last room was red.
He hates David Lynch because the Red Rooms.
There's seemingly a lot of not so subtle foreshadowing. That's what I wrote. But also then what's his name? Quentin talking about that character. He's like, he's a trap. I thought that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, a bit.
Wait, how do you mean?
He called him
says that.
he said he's a trap.
I don't think it was a thing at the time.
No, not that type of trap.
Okay.
No.
Fucking
That-
fucking bigot.
I was like, holy shit, dude, calm down.
It'll
He's a trapezius.
Oh yeah, another speculation I had, which was it'll turn out there was an easy way out the whole time if they all work together. Which
Which is
And it does
staying
it.
place.
It does it twice. It does it twice where it's just
Yeah,
like first of all when it first shows that they went into circle, then I was like, ooh, now we can get like some like peak of them like going insane and can you stop? Some like them going insane and like hopelessness and all that. And then they double dip on that one when they were like, oh, it's the start. This is the room we started in. Does that really add anything?
yeah, but to
other than
communicate
like pointing at the audience and be like, see,
to communicate this message that you need to work together, you really need characters who feel like real characters. And I guess you said they did feel real to you. They did not feel real to me. And like I said, they're mostly
at a point they did, but like
they're most of my problem with the film. And I feel like the reason that message can work is because the characters were fleshed out enough. And since I've only seen like movies like this and Saw that try and like have that message, it hasn't really proven to work that well yet. I really want to see something like this or Saw that's like really competently done. Like just extremely competent.
perhaps in a game.
Yeah.
With lots of complex choices and
Yeah.
immersive level design. I think that'd be amazing. But given with so I guess I had a kind of a thought like you did with like the red room and foreshadowing.
Okay, yeah.
When they got to the last room,
And I'm pretty much
I was thinking like, oh, since this is talking a lot about nihilism and existential like death and they don't mean anything. I was anticipating that the last room was just going to be booby trapped no matter what. And I was just going to kill them all right there. And I thought
was,
like,
by Quentin.
if the movie pulled that, I would have felt extremely robbed, even though it was going to like kind of follow through its themes. I was going to feel robbed of like this whole time I spent with this movie. And it didn't, but it also did, because Quentin just Deus Ex comes in and fucking like killing the girl. Why her first? Like that's cheap.
Well, yeah, I would agree.
That's cheap. He has no motivation to kill her first, but he did it so the audience member would go like, "What the fuck?" For a second, I thought the mentally handicapped person did it.
Yeah.
For some fucking reason,
Like,
I would have appreciated that more than Quentin coming back.
He was definitely like a walking trope for like authoritarianism.
And you know what? Because of how robbed I felt for that, I'm headcanoning that she made it out.
Okay.
I don't care what happens.
I would agree.
Because the end of the movie is not satisfying either, I would say. Yeah.
Well, like, and then blah, blah, blah. Everyone dies except the mentally challenged chap. He makes it out. And, like, since it was so, like, overly, like... And then, I guess...
from America.
I don't know what you said at all, because you muttered it. I think any message I had...
Don't worry about it, baby.
Okay, when you do that, we can't hear anything when we play it back.
That's why I gave James that look.
That's why I'm giving... that's why I'm saying it that way.
All right, what are you saying?
So anyway, I had this interpretation at the end, which is one thing I really grasp onto, since the outside was like, you know, overflowed in white. For me, that kind of like showed like that is transcendence. That's nirvana that people are reaching, that people want to reach to. And the cube is an allegory for life and its complexities, and that it's confusing, and at the bigger picture, it doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't matter. And you get all these different people that are kind of tossed into that, and they all want the same thing. Maybe this is me giving the movie more credit.
That's what I was thinking, but that's totally fine.
And it's, in a way, the cube is also in a sense a purgatory, like Silent Hill. It reminded me a bit of that. And they're trying to find their way out, so they're trying to, like, you know, transcend themselves. But everyone dies, and the mentally handicapped person gets out. So what is it saying? That the only people who are free of sin and deserve deserve transcendence and I'm missing the big word, but it's him. Like, that's the only one. Like, and then I thought, like, well, the girl didn't do anything wrong.
If your interpretation is
like, the girl like, she has no sin or anything. Like, so that's why I'm like, she made it out with him.
Now I watched.
I don't care.
I watched this film as straight as Boondock Saints. I didn't think there was anything to interpret with this one.
Well, that would be my interpretation of it, which gives it some benefit, but I don't think it was executed very well, and it makes me sad to think of what happens if it was, and maybe if it were a game. Somebody get on that, please.
I think maybe there's like more like input onto like the prison industrial complex into it, but. It only like lightly illustrates that in the movie itself.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it's like prolific. If it had like fucking doubled down on that shit, maybe. But it didn't. So it's very like loose.
Right.
I don't know.
All right.
Well, I've got my interpretation was my closing thoughts. So
yeah, I was at the end of my notes a bit ago. What I did like about it more than anything was the concept, and like I think it does deserve points for originality, because
for sure.
And it predated Saw, which is the thing that I kept thinking, like, this feels a lot like that, so that if anything that takes
it's
away
pretty
from
imaginative
Saw.
too.
Yeah.
Given for what it is.
And I do think the effects were all good, like to the point where I didn't consider that. So
I think
that's a good thing.
Super well. Also, I thought the acting was fine.
Yeah.
I thought the early part, there were some lines that were like, that's the best.
There was some
But
alright.
later, after the movie, I was like, damn, this cast was like really filled with like nobody super noteworthy.
Yeah.
You know what? I think this movie was missing Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
That would have made this way better.
Definitely. So
what if he played the mentally handicapped person?
Dude, honestly, holy fuck. The amount of difference that would have made is actually insane.
Yeah.
I guess. Anyway,
let's do our. Do you have closing thoughts, Mo?
I feel like, I recommended this movie, so I hadn't seen it in a while.
Right.
But I liked it. I don't know. I think it's a neat interpretation of how people react in desperate situations,
Okay.
and that's my take.
So, do you want one of us to give our number first, or do you not give a shit?
I don't give a shit. Say what you want to say, boy.
We'll go how it was
damn it, fine. Okay.
at
Well,
the beginning.
I'm giving this movie a 6 out of 10. I think after I watched it, I was more willing to give it a 7, but talking about it, I realized I had a bit more grief, and it could have been easily an 8 or 9 if it did any of the things I said.
I'm gonna wait for Jim
But
to see what he has to say.
I still enjoyed
But,
the concept
you know.
and watching it. I would show this to, I don't know, like a date, and we didn't really care too much what was going on.
Yeah. Okay.
That's about it.
What
See ya.
think?
Were you saying something? Or did you just-
I don't want to give away my score until you say something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I give it a 5 out of 10. And I've already explained pretty thoroughly what I liked, I guess I meant more into what I didn't like, just because that's what I felt like I had to explain. Because when we started off the conversation, I felt like you two really enjoyed it. So I wanted to get a little out of what I didn't like.
I did really enjoy it, but then
That's good.
Talking about it more in detail, I realized there's this and this, and quite a lot of it.
So actually, based on today, this is my lowest rating, which I'm gonna give it like the same thing Skylar did, which is like a 3 out of 10. Or 3 out of 10.
Out of 5.
3 out
God
of 5.
damn.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, I
3 out of
really
5.
enjoyed it. 3 out of 10.
No, I enjoy the premise. I do think it has aged, but I do like sci-fi premises. I think what sci-fi does the best is
World building.
basically like put a premise like this. I'm trying to think of the way to explain this.
I agree.
I think sci-fi does this type of situation the best, whereas like normal genres might not.
Right.
It's dealing with like these people trapped in a cube based on like authoritarian regimes, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the second version, which is not nearly as good,
Okay.
which I vaguely remember.
All right.
So I don't know. It's like it's a lot,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. All right.
So the movie I recommended gets the lowest score. Let's go, baby.
That's fine.
That happens. I
We were
purposely,
kind of.
I purposely recommended a bad movie, like at the start of this.
Wait,
The
what
Forest.
are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, like way back when. Me and you.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the,
The Wall. I was like, what?
Yeah, no.
No.
James
no.
loved it apparently.
Yeah, I did.
Like literally like the lowest rating movie. Like you recommended Boondock Saints, which I gave like a 3.5, maybe 4. And also
The Wall.
Same here.
which originally started like a 3. Maybe like a high 2.5.
Yeah, and you're sitting in between a couple of tens
But
too.
after we talked about it, it's like it increased. So it's like, but for this movie, like I understand, like it's a low budget sci-fi film,
Right.
but I think it did a lot.
That's.
for what it's like.
I don't knock anything for having a low budget, by the way. But
Yeah. Well,
that
no,
that actually is kind of cool.
I give it like
That's
its
really
own
cool.
like merits because it
Yeah.
was so low budget,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still like a 3 out of like, or sorry, a 6 out of 10.
That's cool. I wish the script was better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Right.
But I think it was a low budget film, so it's
Mhm.
like it's fine that the script wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Right.
Still enjoyable. That's why it's 6.
Yeah, well, it's actually one of the like highest recommended like sci-fi films
That's interesting.
because it offers like I think sci-fi is more about like recommending people in unique situations than like being like about like space or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what it's really good at is like those unique situations. I don't
So
know.
Yeah,
I'm a sci-fi guy. I watch Stargate.
you are. So let's, I guess, with all that in mind, I think we generally agreed on all of these.
Honestly, yeah.
We were really close. I mean, I guess our ratings don't reflect that with The Wall because we gave it 10.
Right.
But the conversation, we all clearly got something out of it. And Boondock Saints and The Cube, we were like just all pretty close or like 1 point off of each other. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know how these conversations would go.
Same here.
So I'm happy with how it turned out. It's cool having a third person on. And I'm glad we did it. So we'll go into our recommendations now.
Yeah. So it was cool, but we got to get back to the formula.
Back to the formula.
Just like Boondock Saints.
Yeah. So
Formula.
bye, Mo. See you. He left.
He's gone.
You don't.
Well, he's gonna.
You don't really have to leave.
He's stumbling on over to the bathroom again.
Best
so,
movie in the world.
All right.
Is,
So for this,
The bathroom.
James and the Giant Peach.
Mm-hmm.
really quick, real life convo. Are we doing this? We're gonna speed run these next rec still
Yeah.
to go for next couple days. No. Well, I did. I speed run these.
No.
No.
Hang on. Right now, this conversation isn't going to make sense because he's not talking into a mic.
Oh yeah.
I don't want you to speedrun because I'm here.
No. We're speed running our next recommendations, but it's not going to make a difference to our audience. So
Yeah. Okay.
all good.
I just wanted to double check because
Yeah,
during
because
the conversation I was like, oh, I can't wait for this other rec, and then I'm like, oh right,
it's
right,
good.
I have to postpone it again.
Well, only a few
what's your
days.
rec? I'm gonna comment on your recs. I won't make a rec, but I'll comment.
only a few days.
You won't be able to get it done in a few
20 days maybe.
I don't-
20 days later maybe.
Hang on. I don't know if I know you know what I'm recommending him, and I don't know
I
what.
actually don't.
Yeah.
so
Oh well, you forgot. But
I've been drinking.
but
It's fine.
but
You know.
I don't know
Fine,
what
I've been
I'm
drinking, baby.
going to be recommended. But yeah, just try not to spoil anything if you know about him. Obviously.
Yeah. So you're getting an easier one. Wait, who's recommending first?
I think Skylar should recommend first.
Well, it actually depends the order we talked about him. So yeah, you.
Oh, Skylar's
cool.
recommending first. I decided it.
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. So you're getting a movie, a little bit easier.
Great.
Not a music movie, finally. It's actually one that I've seen recently.
Please don't.
Yeah, it's actually one I've seen recently. And I guess I won't say anything more than that. Heathers.
Okay.
I just looked this movie. I just added this to my watch list today.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
I actually.
You're watching it.
I was thinking about rewatching it recently. as
I
well.
didn't. I knew nothing about this. I didn't know you were gonna know about it. But as long as you haven't seen it, Cool.
No, I just added it.
Already?
Yeah.
yeah, I've seen it like
Okay.
recently.
Okay.
Um,
And I think it would make for a really great conversation.
I don't know if you know Karsten Runquist, a YouTuber, but it was in his video or movies I saw in August playlist or video that he put up, and he just mentioned it, and the way he talked about it for just like 2 minutes or no, probably like 30 seconds. I was just like, I'm putting that in the watch list, and now I'm watching it, I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So great. And the movie, you're getting a movie too. And that movie is should not come as a surprise. Do you wanna guess what you're getting?
Is it the sequel to Boondock Saints?
No.
I don't know what I'm getting.
Donnie Darko. You're getting Donnie Darko.
Oh, because it's on the coffee table.
Yeah, 2 versions of it.
I'm getting 2 versions.
No.
Oh, I was gonna say.
There's 2 on
That's
the.
some bullshit.
No. Actually, specifically, I want you not to watch the director's cut.
Okay.
I want you to watch the regular cut.
Can
and-
I mention anything on that?
Just if you don't spoil anything.
Well,
Or
I would say,
influence my
His thoughts
yeah.
on
Well,
it.
I'm gonna say the director's cut is not as good as the regular cut.
that
Yeah, we-
makes
we-
sense of why he said
we-
to
Well,
not check
the-
out the director's cut.
Yeah, like
We checked it out.
we checked it out together actually, and I was like, like the literal interpretist of me does like agree with it. It's not a good interpretation.
It just shouldn't be your first experience with the movie.
Can I like mention like the cuts at all? Or
well, we can in a few days because we're gonna discuss this on Sunday, me and him.
and
And
I'm just like stopping by for this one and be like, hey, it's some bullshit, baby.
well, perhaps, but
Perhaps.
that's I guess where we're gonna leave this one. So watch the theatrical cut of Donnie Darko. I'm gonna be watching Heathers. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, and we're gonna no change for anyone viewing, which is no one, but you and I will be speed running these recs, which is
I mean,
cool.
I speed ran these 2 movies before, so this shouldn't be a problem.
So like this was actually kind of a cool opportunity to throw out something you really wanted to talk about, unless it was something that would take a long time, like your next one sounds like it will. But this is something I've really wanted to talk about, and it's an easy rec that you can take care of in the next 2 days or so.
Yeah.
So
Sounds good.
perfect.
This should be an interesting conversation. Should we not break the continuity issue right now?
What?
No. Yeah, let's blow out this candle.
Wow, what was that continuity issue you were talking about?
What are you talking
God, I
about? This
wonder.
conversation never happened.
Let's do
We're
it.
blowing out this candle, guys. All right.
I watched it.
3, 2, 1. No, what are you doing?
What the fuck did you do?
He
You
just
lit it.
tossed his phone at
He did
at
the
us.
opposite of fucking putting it out.
God damn it. All right, 3, 2, 1.